got numbers.
Hey guys, welcome to ClevelandMoto Podcast, episode number 516. Light 'em up, boys. Oh my God. In case you haven't been out retailing recently, it is pumpkin spice season in Cleveland, Ohio. Yeah. It's official. All of your flavors are now pumpkin spice.
I love pumpkin spice.
I do too. Today, Renee came up and she goes, "Hey, Phil, I know you love pumpkin spice and everything. And there's a bottle of whipped cream, a can of whipped cream in the fridge that is pumpkin spice flavored whipped cream."
What do you all do up there when I'm away?
And I said, yeah. And she goes, "But it's dated February of 2025.
No problem.
And I said, "That's from last year. When pumpkin spice whipped cream comes out at Aldi, I buy a lot of it." But the question is, will it still be good in that, pressurized,
Ultra pasteurized.
I'm going to vote yes.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fine. I'll have to give it a shot in the near future and find out more about it.
At least take the gas off the top.
Also true. Yeah, exactly. So we'll figure out what's going on.
For the kids at home, that's called a whip it.
Greetings, Marshall.
It's a whip it. So we're going to talk about a lot of stuff in today's podcast. But before we do that, I'm going to do the roll call. We're going to introduce the man to my left is
Mr. Green.
Mr. Green. So that's because we now have color-coded microphone cords in the interest of peace and civility and lack of... We now have color-coded microphone cords. It's amazing how helpful that is when you're trying to troubleshoot a problem. You can just be like, "That's a green cord. I know right where that's plugged in." So I made a small investment in cords.
But everybody shake your microphone.
We should probably stop talking about the cords before they hear us.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Excellent. Yeah, before we all get recommendations. And to his left, we have...
Steve Sleepy.
And to his left...
Mr. Red, Johnny Mac.
And to his left...
Speedy Pete.
And to his left...
GSG Brown. Chris.
Yeah, you are Mr. Brown tonight. And behind the bar today...
Tom Pennington.
So if you guys like the sound quality...
Mr. Black, actually.
You're Mr. Black, right?
Since Mr. Black and I have an arrangement.
We do have an arrangement. Fuck you, Mr. Black for Tom. Anytime we see Tom drinking Mr. Black, somebody throw your body in front of him, please. We can only handle so much weird. And that comes back to the old Reservoir Dogs, is we used to let guys pick their own names, but then nobody wanted to be Mr. Pink, right? And everybody wanted to be Mr. Black because it sounds so hard. Yeah, so it's been, for us at the shop, we are very happy to announce that New Nick has been kicking butt.
Nick is kicking ass.
New Nick is kicking ass. He's really doing a great job.
I am starting to catch up on winter projects that I was like, November is coming soon, and now I'm like, okay, I'm going to start working on November.
We'll stay busy.
I'm still tripping on New Nick. I like that. It's just the greatest thing ever. It just happened.
What did y'all say? Handsome Nick?
That was the other one. I heard that. I heard that name being thrown around a little bit. Handsome Nick.
But original Nick came strong with the Keanu Reeves haircut, so he's a handsome fella too now.
Also true.
We're gonna have to have a dance off.
Yeah. Well, the rest of us are considerably older, right? That's just the way it goes. But
Mr. Pink, Sean couldn't be here tonight.
Man, no Mr. Pink tonight.
Mr. Pink.
Oh man, yeah. It was pretty funny because when I got all the cords, they all showed up like yesterday morning or yesterday afternoon, and I was going through them and I was like, "There's got to be a pink cord. We have to have a pink cord," and there was no pink cord.
Yeah, Marshall was asking about that.
He would probably be happy with blue though too.
Yeah, he would be happy with blue. Blue would make him real happy. So yeah, that's cool. And I know that we've got a real fun topic. How the hell was your first track day, Sleepy?
Oh.
Yeah, that happened since we talked last.
Well, since I got the back, I cannot help but talk more Italian. It was fucking awesome. It was everything I thought it was going to be. Remembered, don't get me wrong. I have anxiety to begin with, so that sucked. I had to really talk myself through that, and that was the whole thing. I'm kind of used to it, but at the same time, this was pretty strong that day.
I gave him a firm hug.
He did.
I stopped by Friday night, gave him a pep talk the night before.
He did. Pete was out chasing balloons, which is the greatest thing I've ever heard in my life. He just saw an air balloon and was like, "Fuck it, I'm going that way."
Oh, wow.
So that's how I was out for a ride on the monkey Friday night, and I saw this air balloon, a hot air balloon, I don't know how many miles away, and I just started following it. I'm like, I'm going to track this motherfucker down. How fast can he go, right?
Right.
And when I caught up to him, I'm like right in Steve's front yard.
Literally.
Yeah.
I'm working on the bike. I'm packing shit, and I hear me.
Oh, that's
There's a
cool.
Pete.
And he comes out of the garage. He goes, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm following that balloon." He looks up and
I'm like, holy shit! There's a giant fucking air balloon above my garage.
That's nice.
It's like the most ADD thing I've ever heard about motorcycles. Hey, there's a balloon. We're going.
I love that whole thing in the recent Long Way Home for Ewan and Charlie. They're like, yeah, we're going to take a hot air balloon ride. And they're like, and you know, one of the greatest things about it is how peaceful it is. Yeah, you can really get up here and just become one with your thoughts. You know, that sound of that burner is just a bomb going off
It's
2
a
feet from your head.
rocket engine, basically.
Yeah, it's quite something.
Just going the wrong way.
Makes a whole lot of heat in 1 quick second.
So more about your track day?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I had to get through that, and then like I knew what was going to happen once I got to the track because I love tracks. I like that's like why that's
You
why
feel
I
at home there.
I do. I go with all my buddies that race and stuff like that. So once I got there, I started to feel okay. Then I saw the bikes, and I was like, okay, whatever. And I went to the initial meeting and registered, and that was pretty cool. Like that whole organization, you can tell they've been doing it for a long time. You can tell that those dudes are passionate and they actually care about what they're doing. Like nobody there is like, all right. Then what you're going to do is everybody's like, hey, listen, we want you to have a really good time. I want to have a good time today. Like, I do this because I like to do it, and I'm here doing it. Like, you're standing next to my motorcycle back there. Like, so it's like guys that just want to get the hobby progressing and do it themselves.
So this was fast tracks at Nelson's Ledges Raceway.
Right. And,
Which for what, $230?
$230, and I'll tell you, I left there feeling like I should have given them more money. Like, honestly, like the instruction was cool. I mean, granted, don't get me wrong. If he ever listens or whatever, the instructor was awesome. His name was John. He was an older fella, and he could ride the shit out of his bike when he wanted to. But, like, the first couple sessions we went out, he was being really conservative, and, like, a lot of the other groups were not. So, like, I was getting passed by these other groups, and I was getting a little snarly.
Well, because whenever he would pull you over,
Yeah.
and you guys would all have to kind of like get over to the right and let everybody pass and
So
slow
like
down,
when we got there, they separate. They're like, okay, listen, you guys, a lot of you guys are novices. They're not in our system and stuff like that. So here's the thing: you could come from Michigan, where I mean, once you get to be intermediate or something, I guess you can carry those credentials, like you're logged in, whatever. But if you're just like maybe did a few novice things out there and you come here, you are just thrown into this mix, right? So like you got dudes that are actually pretty fucking talented, but they're considered a novice here. So like they ask you like, where do you think you belong? Well, I knew I didn't belong at the top, you know.
Right.
But I was like trying to be conservative because I really wanted to try to learn, right? So I'm like, let's not go with what I should. Let me go a little lower so I can actually take my time, get with somebody, whatever. So I didn't go to the bottom, and I didn't go, I kind of picked a good medium so I could focus on what they were saying and stuff. So we get out there. And within 5 minutes, man, like the last group he's like pulling us over and they're passing us and we're doing like 45 miles an hour down the straight. And I'm like, ugh. Like it was painful. It was hard for me not to like, I just wanted to go past everybody.
Hey,
I was like, ugh.
Oh, yeah.
But I was being cool. And then by the third session, then he started to get a little more going and stuff. And then the fourth one, when he followed us, so then he followed us on a lap and kind of let us go, which kind of sucked in one way because I hadn't completed a full lap under power.
Right.
Because every time we get 3/4 way around, he'd pull us in or
Yeah,
something like
he'd
that. I'm
drag
like,
you down.
come on, man.
Yeah.
So after that, we started to get out and do it, and it became really apparent to me how addictive it is and how much like it's non-douchebag golf.
Right.
Like it's not just going fast on a fucking track. It's like once okay, the initial thrill of like, oh shit, I don't have to worry about cops. I'm on a track, right? And you forget about that, and then you start to feel like, oh, I can actually learn how to do this and get good at this. And then you're like watching the dude in front of you that's better than you, and he's on the same line, but he's doing something different. And so he's able to really pull in harder. He's able to get the bike over more, or something. And you're watching that, and you're like, oh, okay. So then you think you're off the bike, and then you're like, look, and you're like, you're not. Like your leg is like, 2 inches to the left. You see the dude that's faster than you, and he is literally like a foot off, and his legs. So it's all this body positioning and stuff. And so then you start to string together little pieces. You're like, oh, shit, I got that fucking turn right. Like, I got my braking right. I hit the fucking apex. I tipped it in. That felt really good. And then you fuck up the next turn, and you're like, God damn it. So then the next lap, you're like, okay, I'm going to string those two fucking things together. Let me get those two things right, And so that's what you start focusing on. And I can see, like, as you get, more and more time, then you start to string the third one in. Or maybe, like, you naturally will have something on the back end of the track. Like, you naturally can feel the way you're supposed to do the backside. So those are your two fast spots on the track now. And then, you build from there. So it was really cool. And then toward the end of the day, it speeds wicked up, and like then it was open. Like there were no more groups. You were just out with your intermediate guys. So I was able to find the dudes that weren't the 5 guys that should have been intermediate, and they weren't the rest of the guys. I found the dudes that were kind of at my speed, but maybe a little bit faster. Which then instantly I was able to like glom onto their wheel and then chase them. That's what I'm good at. I love chasing people because at that point you're learning where the break points are, where the tip-in points are. So at that point it got fast. Like I think I hit 148 on the straight on the back, like at one point going down there, and then coming around. But overall, like in the turns and stuff, you could see where the fast guys just like they carry speed. They really like you brake so hard, like the G forces of braking. Like that's a big difference from the street to the track. Is like if you really want to try to improve your thing, you are accelerating to the last fucking possible time that you can accelerate. Then you're off the gas and instantly on the brakes. And then so going through, I guess just from the years of doing all the twisties and stuff, I kind of naturally trail brake.
Yeah.
And so on the ZX6R, you can hear the brakes, especially under that much fucking braking. So it was kind of neat, and like it actually is audibly helping you trail brake because like you hear it go zzz, and then as you're entering before you tip in, you can hear it go like zzz, and like I knew as soon as I tipped in, I just like slowly release it, and so I got that down pretty good too. But it was awesome. Like I was already like, okay, where's tracks in the next 6 hours from here? I'm going here. I'm quitting my job and selling the fucking bike.
How'd the bike perform?
Bike was great. That bike is way more than I need right now, but just enough to at the same time. Like it's fast. It's 130 horsepower. It's tuned. It popped and snapped a little more than I wanted it to. I got to ask the dudes that tuned it a little bit more about that, but it ended up being comfortable. I think I'm going to change a couple things on the rear sets. So I think the whole thing I learned that day is I learned how bad of a rider I was. But the good part, by the end of the day, I knew when I got shit wrong, which I think is pretty good progression. Like, you know what I mean? Like I knew, like, on the track, I was like, fuck, I fucked that turn up. Like, I should have hit this or that. And just having that knowledge made me feel like I learned quite a bit that day.
You know, when you brought that up and you're talking about trail braking, and that was the thing that changed my entire dynamic of riding on a racetrack, was the discovery and application of trail braking. John Del Vecchio, who's been in this podcast, he's been with us, and I've handed his book to many people. His book is called Cornering Confidence. And that trail braking is what the difference between going out there and going into a corner and hoping everything comes out okay, or building yourself up to the corner, drawing your corner, designing your corner with the brakes that you have going into it, carrying that braking energy through the front of through the corner, and then releasing that energy as you are releasing yourself onto the next straight.
And smoothly, though, because if none of that doesn't happen smoothly, you're on the ground.
That's right. And then there's another book from Lee Parks, and that's called Total Control. And so if you're interested in, doing track days, or you're interested in just being a better rider, spending time, trail braking is one of the most confusing and often misquoted. I've had people describe trail braking to me incorrectly more times than I've had anybody explain it to me correctly. And when I go out on an event and somebody's like, oh, yeah, well, I had to do some trail braking in that turn, I said, one, you should be trail braking for every turn. And two, I use trail braking when I'm coming on and off the goddamn freeway. When I'm getting on the freeway, when I'm getting off the freeway, I'm trail braking because I want my front tire to be giving me the maximum amount of grip that it can be giving me. So if I'm shoving that tire into the fucking planet with the weight of the motorcycle, I'm going to get a better contact patch. I'm going to get more warmth in that contact patch, and it is going to grip a shit ton better than an unloaded cold tire will do in the exact same turn. The likelihood of my front tire skipping out, which when you lose the front end, that is very rarely super recoverable, right? It is an unpredictable thing that makes you shit your pants and low side your bike, and if you're lucky, you don't high side. Now, if you're trail braking and you're feeding energy into that front brake as you're entering the turn, decelerating your bike as you should be, carrying the speed through, and that's the balancing act. The balancing act is so you don't run out of velocity in the middle of the turn. Oops, I undercooked that one.
So the definition of just like what you'd usually do on a turn is that you would brake, and then you'd let off your brakes, and then you would tip in, and then hit the apex, and then accelerate. Yep. Trail braking is when you keep the brake on past your braking point, and then you're heading into the turn, and you slowly let it off. Now, exactly what you're saying is happening. Because because of all that brake force, your suspension is compressed, it's pushing the tire in. And the thing, especially on the racetrack now, is that just as you're about to tip in, you're starting to tip in, you have that if you release the brake quickly, you unload the front suspension, and you no longer have a front tire on the ground.
No, you don't.
And now you are on the ground sliding.
Exactly.
So it's like, it's not something like they even said, like, you know, like don't do that. But I've been doing it for, so like, I couldn't not do it because, like, you know, that's what I was doing. But but then I was conscious about it, right?
Right.
Because I'm like, it's going to make a way big of a difference when I'm going this hard. Like, I'm not braking at 1G. I'm braking at, holy fuck, I think I need a tank extender because my dick is smashing into the tank hard on these fucking things. Like, you know, like you brake, right?
Yeah,
like
you start to understand why
the fucking brakes.
Those
right?
tank extenders exist.
Yeah. Yeah, remember when we hit your Ducati, the whatever? We're like, who the fuck could ride this? Now I'm like, hey, I want that Ducati.
Now I
'cause then
understand
can just
why.
Squeeze in there, and then you're stuck in.
And I'm locked in.
Yeah.
And that difference, what people don't understand is the first inch and a half maybe of your suspension travel on the front of your motorcycle is virtually useless. And it's so unpredictable. It's so floppy that you want to get past that. So you're in the controllable meat and potatoes part of your suspension, which is very predictable. It always acts the same way. But the first inch and a half is really anybody's bet. And if that's how you're going around the corner with an unloaded front end of the motorcycle and you're just using that inch and a half, well, then everything's dancing around on the front end. And there's no better way for you to lose your front wheel than if it's dancing around on the front end. And once somebody took the time to teach me the total control method, when I learned it was the total control method, and then when I was reintroduced to it through John Del Vecchio's book, he brought it into a far more approachable theory. He made it very, very easy to understand. So if you are an aggressive street rider or you do want to do track days, it's a really good idea, like Sleepy, to go in there understanding what trail braking is. Because you're instantly going to be able to be like, okay, understand that those braking markers there, the 1, 2, 3, 4, that's for vehicles that are big and heavy that aren't yours. You can be braking at the fourth braking marker every single time. And the noise, once you start listening for that, and you start, when you hear that, then you'll start hearing the adhesion sound of your tire. And you can actually start to hear when your front tire is getting ready to give up the ghost. It's amazing. And on the electric motorcycles, it becomes loud.
Beautiful boogers on your tires. I know you say you were just picking them up from the track, but
No, I got. So
You were collecting boogers?
can I say though that, like, you know, people are like, oh, you don't need slicks for everything. Well, these Metzler track day slicks, they're basically road tires without a fucking tread. So they're, you know, it's just giving you more traction, right? And I can say they were fucking insane. I have never felt, because also I don't think I've ever run sport bike tires at 26 and 28 psi.
Exactly.
Like, you drop it down kind of low so you get that contact patch. So at first I was worried about, you know, having a mushy steering, but you're not, because now you're at speed. So it's not like you're going 20 and trying to turn in the parking lot, so it doesn't fucking matter. Right. But man, it was like all that stuff, taking that all in. Like, John's right. Like, when you go to the first meeting, you're like, what did I get myself into? Because this dude's like, all right, here's 17 flags. If you see this, do that. If you're on the bike, don't do that. Get off here. If you're on the track, push this way. Don't do that. And you're like,
yeah, I got some free instruction just because I followed him. I'm like, I'm going to go with him.
Oh,
do the
yeah,
fucking thing, you know?
for sure.
I'm just going to stand behind Sleepy, and they might not kick me out. And I'm like, okay, he just rattled off 6 or 7 different things you're supposed to remember in this one driver's meeting. Like, how are you supposed? Okay, I'm supposed to do this. I would just be like, you know, analysis paralysis. Wait, am I doing? You know.
can I give you an insight into?
I mean, 2 of the good ones were though, you know, getting on your inside foot peg, putting weight to that inside foot peg.
Oh, that worked.
It works great.
I've weighted my foot peg, but not to the point that they were like, you really, you know, push on it.
You're standing on it.
So like, you're like, when you're over and you feel like you're like, for me, I'm definitely not as far over as I can go. But on that day, I felt like I was as far over as I could go, right? And I wanted to pull in on the line because I still, like, I had the ability and I couldn't do it.
Right.
You hammer on that fucking foot peg, you just like push like your whole leg on it, and it'll pull you 2 feet in on that fucking line, man. Now, granted, I paid for that dearly 2 days later when I was walking to work in the morning and I thought my legs were going to fall
Throw this
off.
picture up, Sleepy.
But
And they were saying, you know, staying off your arms. Don't have a lot of weight on your arms.
This is, you know, when we're talking about your body posturing, you can see how forward your body is.
Oh, yeah.
You can see where your torso is. You can see how much work your left knee is doing on the motorcycle right now. And anybody who thinks that they've exercised enough before a track day goes in and comes out and goes, I did not exercise enough.
No.
Mike got some good pictures. That was Mike who got those pictures?
No, this was the turn 13 photos. Man.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
I didn't know about that. And this lady was like, hey, if you want to see yourself, I'm like, there's no way they took a picture of me. And then the dude sends over all these. I'm like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Like, I'm framing this. This looks like better than anything I've ever
Yeah,
fucking-
it's really...
I mean, you and your bike look really good. I mean,
Thanks.
I told him, I was like, look, I've been on the track for a long time. And I've seen teams come out that don't look as good as Sleepy does. That's it. So that's great. But more importantly, you want to go out and you want to have the learning experience, and you can't have the learning experience if your equipment's not working correctly.
Right. No, I put the time in. I mean, that's why I didn't go right away. I went over that bike, I rebuilt it. Like, fortunately, when I traded my Tuono for it, they built it, but they never raced it. They didn't do anything, so they didn't even finish it. So I was able to go through and just I didn't even have to do much. It was basically like getting all the parts and just getting to put it together myself. So I got.
Did you make any changes in your suspension throughout the day?
No, because the dude, that's the one thing that I lucked out on. The kid was a 6'3", like football player looking dude. He was he was like 24, right? So, but his dad was the financier of his whole operation. Okay. So I think the dad was actually taking my Tuono, and he was getting rid of the kid's bike because the kid was more interested in girls, I think, than racing motorcycles at that point.
Good energy.
But he was 215, 220 with gear 235.
Okay.
So they had the bike tuned to him with so the stock suspension's fine on that bike.
It is.
It has all the settings, compression, dampening, all that, and then the spring comes from the factory. I think at set for about 190 to 220.
Yeah, I was going to say about 190. Yeah.
And it's still usable range is still 230. So you're not going to spring. You can't go a lot of people like to crank them down if they want more stiff, but there's only a usable range of the spring, and you have to keep it within that usable range. So that's set. So the suspension, I have to say, when I started to get decent, I was hitting the carousel pretty hard and leaning into it and stuff. Mm-hmm. I had zero bouncing, zero on my Africa Twin when I was trying to hammer on that and I had it loose, it'd be fuck, and it'd be bucking Bronco.
Pivoting.
None of that. It was smooth as fuck around the turns. The power was good. So I had the ECU tuned at Superbike Tuners down in North Carolina. And I got to call them, because I don't know if I was supposed to block the Paris valve off or something, but John will tell you, anytime I decelled, it was fucking crazy.
But okay, so I'll bring you up to speed on that. Don't care.
Yeah, but
is that the IAC?
It could be the IAC.
If they tuned it to remove the Paris valve and it's open, then it'll do that unnecessarily. Mm-hmm. So on the Z900, I just, at that point, I found the tube, and I put a marble in it with 2 zip ties, because that just, whatever, and it blocked it off, and it worked great.
Yep.
This, I can't, I have to do more research to figure out where the pair valves are on this thing and what's going, because I think if I block, that's the thing, that they were supposed to send me back all the shit that they did and what I'm supposed to do, and I just got my ECU with nothing in it. So
that would be good to look into. The biggest, it is very easy to go on a rabbit hole of, when you're demanding power, you want power.
Right.
And when you're transitioning from, a low speed or low demand to a high demand or a medium demand, when you're decelerating and you now need to throw the switch the other way, you need to have that response right there.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes I've ridden bikes that gave me extraordinarily good delivery of power, and then when you would come off the gas, it would sound like 1,000 firecrackers going off.
Well, it's every Harley that passes by the shop.
Well, but
but I want to make sure it's not. I mean, I don't think it's hurting anything.
Right.
I think it's unnecessary.
Right.
That's all.
So where I was chasing my tail, I was like, I want to make that go away.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, the burble, the after, those are just the noises.
The kids are calling it the burble tune.
Well, it's the noises that are happening when you are closing the door.
Yeah.
Right.
Well. When we put power commanders and stuff on some of the scooters and everything, one of the things that those did was stopped all the fuel when you first went no throttle, zero fuel, therefore zero back popping, zero
Almost
anything.
None. Yep.
Unless it came to an idle, then it would give fuel back to maintain an idle, and maybe that's just something they didn't put into that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm going to call the guy, because they should be able to tell me all the things and whatever.
I had an SV that I was kind of making myself crazy about on the trailing throttle, where anytime if I was coming off of full throttle, even into mids, I would get, bang, bang, bang. And I was like, Jesus fucking Christ, there's something wrong. I got way too much unburnt gas.
I have to think you'd get better engine braking if they're not allowing zero fuel into the engine, right?
So I kind of I freaked out about it, and I went to the guy that I was kind of back and forth with on the ECU on the SV, and he was like, well, let's take a look at it, because some of that could just be artifacts of unburnt fuel that's just going to do that. And I was like, okay, but I'm concerned that when I'm trailing throttle, I'm not getting a good deceleration throttle. Not getting a reliable running down. And last thing I want to do is have any explosion pulses when I should be coming down off the throttle. When I'm trying to slow down, the last thing I want to do is have anything that's creating power because my clutch is completely out. So I don't want to have my back tire jumping around as I'm decelerating. So I got a little freaked out about it. And he goes, well, this is set up, really well. And he goes, why don't you just do yourself a favor and go hang out at the end of turn 1 and listen to the guys who have the name on the side of their truck.
Yeah.
And see what they sound like.
That's
and I was
true,
like,
too.
oh, okay, maybe that, that doesn't cost nothing.
Yeah, nobody said anything to me at the thing. So
And I kind of went and I hung out.
And you
there.
weren't the only bike making
Right.
Yeah, I know,
kerfluffles.
I know.
Oh, no.
And so when I went out and hung around, the guys that had their name on the side of the truck, and had a $1 million race team, I was like, oh shit, their shit's doing it too. And I was like, okay. So then the guy was like, yeah, he goes, we're really concerned with how the performance is putting the power to the tire.
Yeah, that's.
And then after that, we're not so concerned with that. But he's like, your point is valid. We don't want to have combustion events, power delivering events when we're decelerating. And, I didn't have a slipper clutch on my bike or anything like that would help soften that out. So I was kind of concerned that it was going to give me a very bad performance.
Yeah.
Sometimes,
Decelerating in a turn.
sometimes when the gnomes are throwing the buckets of gas into the intake, some of that doesn't actually get burnt.
Well, and I had the VTR 1000, which was God's best example of surplus fuel.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So
But I'll tell you one thing about the tune in this bike, man. Fucking so I think it redlines at 16,000 now. Like it's fucking up there, dude. It's like
it just keeps going.
It does. And so the weird part is when you hit about 13, it turns into a 2-stroke. It goes Wah! Like it's fucking. I was on the back straight and hit that fucking thing, and I was like, Jesus fucking Christ, this is a 600. Like it's fucking gnarly, man.
Well, no,
It was
because
pretty good.
that's a 636, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not just a 600. That one is the 636ZX is weird. Like it's got a lot of power.
It is 130 fucking horsepower.
And
dude.
do you still have the lighting coils on the stator, or is this a racing stator?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean,
'cause
that's a
see-
good idea. I mean, I'll have to check that out.
Well, you got a little work because it does look like 160 to 165 is going to get you into that hot lap section for the back straight in Mid-Ohio. Is 160 to 165.
Oh, that's
to make you
crazy.
feel better, you've already eclipsed my top, which was 135 on the SV6.
Yeah, the-
Yeah,
the
that
six-
thing.
the
That thing's
636
fast.
is a beast.
But check this out. So this was another aspect to this whole thing that's like new. Because on the street, you're like second gear's your friend. Wind that fucker out because you don't know what's coming up next, and you got to be able to like engine braking. If you let off in second, you're like whoa, right, like that, and like you're kind of jerky. Well, the whole thing with the track now is like you're trying to be smooth. The smooth is fast,
Smooth is
obviously,
fast.
right? That's what everybody knows that, but like you start to understand it when you're trying
Slow
to
is
do
smooth
it, right?
and smooth is fast.
So I'm talking to the instructor, right? And I was having a hard time through this one section because, like, when you come around from the start finish line, you come around to like a big right hand sweeper, and then it kind of goes diagonal, and then it has like a kind of hard right hander that heads to the carousel. Well, going through there, you got to brake and downshift, and then kind of set yourself up for the short straight into the carousel, then brake again. And so, like, I was trying to do it, like, into third there, then brake through third, go down to second for the short straight,
Yes.
stay in second, and go through there. But I was really getting choppy. Like it wasn't the suspension. The bike was fine. It was me. I was, like, not holding a line, and I was wiggling, right? And so after that lap, it was bothering me. So I talked to the instructor who was, like, killing that section. This dude, he's 70 years old on a fucking Ducati, just, like, wailing on this thing, right? So I talked to him. I'm like, hey, what gear are you in through, like, that area, And because he was like, ask me anything. So I started asking him specific shit, right? And he was like happy to answer. He's like, oh, I'm in third and then fourth mostly through the one
Right.
area. And then down. I was like, that high? He was like, yeah. And honestly, he goes, because when you're that tight of a turn and you're on that throttle, you're already carrying the speed. So you have to brake or a little bit less
Right.
because you're not going to accelerate as hard. So he goes, that way you can hold your line because you have a much wider, like, instead of having in second gear, when you're giving it the throttle, you're basically working with this much of an area, But when you're in the next gear up, now that opens that area this big and smooths that whole thing out. So like it was really weird for me because, I was like getting used to it in one way, and now I'm trying to remember to be in a different gear. But when I got it right, it was fucking awesome. Like it was so smooth through that thing, and I was like, oh shit, I get it. Like, and it makes you. I don't know. Like when you these little wins on the track, all of a sudden you're worried about little wins now. You're not even worried about going fast. Like after the first couple of laps, I never looked at the speedometer again. I just waited for the shift light. Like
that's what you do.
None of that matters. Now it's like, oh fuck, that guy in front of me is really smooth. I want to be smooth like him. Like, and so you end up watching the dude in front of you or something. It's I don't know. It's fucking awesome.
You've touched on a problem there though. Is your instructor was on a Ducati, so it was a V2 or V4?
No, it was a fucking super motor. It was a V2, so it was a hyper motard.
Because you're talking about, well, that's an entirely different beast from what you're riding too. So the gear and the torque doesn't exactly translate to
but
a
it was just higher. Well, he was talking 3 and 4. I was talking 2 and 3, whatever. But like when I did go up to, I mean, I think it was relevant because it really it really worked.
It works. Go ahead and pull this one up for us, Sleepy.
I have a question. You said shift light, so you actually care about the shift light. You're shifting on the shift light.
You're not there.
I'm not there.
There you are.
There's John.
Welcome to the
All right.
Mac
So
Cam.
for the folks at home, this is Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. I like this image because it has the anecdotal names of the parts of the track as well. And the start-finish line is right there in the middle, almost the middle of the image. And that's your start-finish line. And then the way this track works out is you can run the track a couple of different ways, but the way we're seeing it right now, they were running the chicane for you guys, right?
You know what's
The
stupid?
234? The chicane?
What's
This
stupid?
is Mid-Ohio, dude.
Yeah.
I was at Nelson's Legend.
Oh, you were Nelson's. I'm sorry,
yeah.
dude.
I've
Sorry.
ridden that track like twice, just
Yeah.
doing the lap of history. But I see all those turns. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
that's the carousel.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
dude.
it's so silly.
That's one of those things where
I wish we were at Mid-Ohio, though. That track is so much wider. Nelson's isn't tight. That's
Very
the
nice.
only thing, dude. There was the back part of the track. So, like, you come through, after you do the carousel, you go into, like, a kind of a long,
Right.
get into a big right-hander. And then the right-hander, it's a tightening radius right-hander. Yeah. And so I had to get used to going into the middle. You want to hug to the inside, but you can't because the inside becomes way more inside, a little bit further up the road.
way more inside. So go ahead. We're going to throw it up here right now.
All right.
So
But you stay, let me see where you're at. Okay.
okay.
Yeah, so you see T2?
this one right here.
All right, so that was the first thing I was talking about, T2 to T3, and then going into 4 and 5, which is like that carousel, or I guess it's not the carousel, it's the pre-carousel.
It's pre-carousel, yeah.
So, but that was the one that I was having problems with until I went down to 3rd through T3.
Yeah.
And then I kept it in 3rd all the way through that oak tree thing, right?
Right, through Oak Tree.
Then you'd hammer down and you accelerate like a motherfucker to T6. Mm-hmm. T7 is where you want to start cutting in, right? Because it looks like an apex. But you can see what happens right after.
It literally decreases radius.
Yeah, so you have to stay to the middle of that part, which is like there's a marker in your brain. You like kind of look for this tree and stay there.
Yeah.
So then you come around and then you pull to the inside, right where the T9 is. There's a red and white is where the red and white stripes kind of start.
Right, that's the dragons.
So you try to hit that fucker right against the red and white stripes.
Literally put your tires on it.
Now, right at that T10, you see that fucking kink?
Yep.
So when you're coming out of T9, you're hammering it, right?
It's a drag strip.
You're doing like at the end of the carousel, you're probably doing 70, and then you get to fucking full throttle that bitch through there because you're like, I'm on the straight, right?
Right.
But if you don't pay attention to this tiny motherfucking cone that's impossible to see on the left-hand side, like you have to align. When you come out of T9, you have to align with that cone.
Yep.
If you're like a fucking
You're
millimeter
never
to
gonna
the
make it.
left and you're on full throttle, that kink all of a sudden becomes a fucking hairpin.
Yeah.
You're like that little fucking wiggle in the road right there becomes like a holy fuck, I'm not going to make this.
And this picture, I've been on this track enough times to tell you that every time I see this image, every time I see this thing, I keep telling him, my brain says they drew that wrong.
Yeah, no.
Because my brain says that turn 11 is a pretty fucking serious turn.
But here's
But
the
it's-
weird part. It'll fucking fool you every
Yep.
time. So the thing I'm talking about was T10. This is
Yeah.
before the kink.
Yeah.
So like you got to hit that. If you don't hit it, you're off the track.
You're gone.
So
so many people just go off.
I just text Kevin.
yeah.
Because he's racing there next weekend.
Oh,
I'm
he
like,
is?
oh, God, you should be fucking watching
Yeah.
the podcast right
Yeah.
now.
I
Because
promise
Cinch is literally walking you through the
That-
track.
That marker cone, so when you come out of 9, if you blow it, you're never, ever going to make it to 11.
No, dude. It is.
And when I draw this track, if you gave me a pen and paper right now and said, draw this track,
Keep the track up.
you see the way it kind of looks like a straight line between T9 and T11, turn 911, I would have drawn that with a much bigger swoop in it.
Yeah, dude.
Because to me in my brain, everything between turn 9 and turn 11 is a sudden curve.
Dude, and here's
Yeah.
the weird part. So like, so all that happens,
Yeah.
and then the kink is there, right?
Yep.
And so when you're following somebody and they know the track, they hammer through the kink and you follow them and you don't even know it's there.
You have no idea it's
right?
there.
And you just end up leaning more, and then all of a sudden you're coming to T12 and you're fucking on the clampers, and then you try to do your best to get through there, right?
Well, I mean,
as soon as I had nobody in front of me, I killed T9 and 10. I was like, fuck yeah, I got it. I got inside the cone. I'm like fucking 100 and some miles an hour in the kink, and I'm like, oh fuck, where did this turn come from? And
because your brain goes, I just did a right. How can I have another right?
Yeah, and so I let off, and not let off like I was gonna get hit by anybody, but I let off like hard pace.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, fuck, and then it comes, and it wasn't even really that much, and I'm like, fuck, and I'm like, I'm still in the middle of the goddamn straight.
Yeah.
And then you hammer again to T12. And I did that so anytime there was nobody in front of me, I kept freaking out at that fucking kink.
Ask Dean Middleton about doing this in the dark.
Oh, fuck that, dude.
For 24 hours.
I don't know about that.
That's it.
Well, that's the funny part. You keep talking about being on the foot peg and leaning in.
Yeah.
And Dean is one of those rare riders, because I've watched him do it. He will not lean. He will not put his knee out.
No, he
does not put his knee down.
It's not.
Well, I'm
He
telling
is
you,
tucked in as hard as he can be.
there was a dude, there was a doctor who came, and he had bought probably at State 8 Cycles last week a ZX10R. Right? And he was, I'm not saying he wasn't a talented rider,
Right.
but he was like this, and the whole bike and him just kind of went together.
He's locked in.
That was it, man.
Yeah, he's just locked
he just
in.
did his thing, but
Yeah.
to see him do the thing where you're going right and left was like a bowling pin. It was
Oh,
like,
yeah. He's getting the full range. And he's
But
working.
he wasn't listening to you instructing because they were telling you to get off the bike, get all the way over.
Yeah.
Your inside leg should be the only thing, holding you on.
And once you start to get it, I mean, I can't wait to get further and further. Obviously, you got to train, you got to get comfortable. But even as far as I got off, there's one picture. The dude, I think it was a dude or a lady, I don't know, but they got the one picture where it's like I'm just getting into a turn and I'm kind of off the bike. It's my dude. I felt like a fucking hero. I was like, look at this guy.
Look at this guy hanging off the motorcycle.
Yeah. But it's definitely it's.
Go ahead, and I'm gonna pull up our screen, and you can stop me when I get to it.
Oh,
I really enjoyed watching you and going out, and Peggy came with me, and I think she even had a good time.
Those are some good hero shots.
that one. I like
Yeah,
that
it's
one.
this
That
one,
one.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
good
yeah.
one too.
Yeah, that's a good shot. That's a great shot.
Yeah, it was fun, man. That was
a great shot,
I
man.
can't wait to go again.
I'm very happy for
Your
you.
knee's not even close to the ground. Come on.
I'll get there.
Can't you get an elbow down?
There wasn't much left on the tires at the end of the day. I did pretty good on the fucking range of tires. So
And
I
that's,
felt like
I mean, really what it comes down to is everybody's going to argue about body positioning only because there's multiple different schools about it. Also, we've changed the way we race. It used to be you're going to set yourself up for your turn way ahead of the time, and you're banking energy, and you're writing checks every time you make a turn. And so you want your carrying speed. You want to carry the speed through the turn. And now with motorcycles being as good as they are, now the design of most modern racing schools is it's a drag race between the turns. So you break the fuck out of it because you can. You break the fuck out of it. You have your traumatic moment going through the turn, and then it's a fucking straight up drag race to the next set of turns.
Yeah.
And that's different than it used to be. It used to be you'd want to carry as much velocity as you could all the way through the track. And now they don't race the same way. They don't drive the same way. It's a different system. So it's fucking cool is what it is, though.
I fucking love it, dude.
Yeah.
I love it so much.
It's badass is what
And
it is.
for once in my life, I'm not doing anything illegal.
No, it's totally fine.
Usually, if any kind of a
Right.
motorcycle like this was involved with my life, it was like, well, we got away with another weekend of not getting in trouble. But now it's like, and there's respectable people there that are looking at you like, hey, I like the same thing you do. And
Right.
it was, that was cool.
There was a doctor with you racing.
Yeah.
There
yeah.
you go.
Yeah, we
Oh,
knew
dude.
we used to know a guy that used to fly his plane in. So he'd fly his plane in, and he would land at the airstrip by the track. He would have his motorcycle shipped to the track. He'd park his airplane. He'd come over to the track, race, track day, and then go back to his airplane and fly home. And then somebody would ship his truck back to his house or wherever he was going next.
There were a couple guys.
Yeah.
I put a video up. If you go to the video when I first get there, I'll pass this one group of dudes on the left.
Uh-huh.
Their bikes, they look like a race team.
Yeah.
They're drrrr, all lined
Yeah.
up. But they all had fucking fully race prep Ducati VR4 Panigales, and so they'd be in the elite group, wherever the fuck they're called. And no disrespect, all those motherfuckers are fast. They are fast old dudes, man.
That's cool.
And you just hear those bikes, they'll full whine, those V4s. But because most of it's inline, a couple of V
yeah.
twins. But all of a sudden you'd hear them dudes
At Summit
so
Point,
good,
you could
man.
always tell when it was the Battle of the Twins.
Yes.
Yeah,
You could
absolutely.
always tell Battle of the Twins.
That actually, I don't want to say it too loud, but the Battle of the Twins is kind of what got me into that Buell. And, that was a pile of money I'll never get back. So, talk about picking the wrong bike.
Somebody in the podcast chat was like, "Hey, should I buy this Buell?" And I'm like, "Hey, you should not spend double what it's worth to buy one."
Put the track back up because Kevin just popped in. And
he did? Yeah.
I want to tell Kevin. So John, tell everybody who Kevin is that just popped in.
Kevin is my college roommate. He's out near Hartford, Connecticut. He's racing a CB 160/175 that he's invested a lot of time, money, and energy into, and he's doing pretty well this year. I mean, when I say well, I mean I don't mean like in point standing or winning, but the bike's running good, and he's been getting lots of races in, and he's going to come out next weekend to race at Nelson's Ledges.
And we're going to go see him.
Well, we're definitely going to go see him. I'm thinking about trying to see if Bruce wants to. Bruce is a hop, skipping, and jumping away. Maybe bring his RV over, and I was maybe going to see if like the Moto Hop guys or something, like because they were talking about they only get to bring the motorhome out once a year or something like that. I mean,
Matt's in the chat, so
Matt's right there. Yeah.
So maybe it's like a mini Mid-Ohio kind of weekend. I'm sure it's not going to be Mid-Ohio chaos because there's racing and it's going to be a lot quieter. But it'll be a chance just to, maybe get out and chit chat and watch some racing and have a nice little weekend. I don't know.
Hold on, there's the John cam.
Here's the John cam.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I said, I texted Kevin, so he chimed in and he was watching.
I know this way.
Some of the stuff. But interestingly enough, talking about CB 160/175 racing.
Well, he says, "Hey, John, I took third overall at Mid-Ohio in my class. I think that's pretty okay, motherfucker."
And again, I did say you were doing very good. I didn't, I don't know specifically how well you're doing.
So, Kevin, T3 into T4 into T5 is fun. T9, that carousel thing, that's where you want to fucking figure your shit out. T9 going into it, T10. Right at T10, there's a cone. You got to be to the right of that fucking cone or you're not going to make that. Well, you might be able to on the bike.
T9 to T12 looks like it'd be the most fun in the world. Like, I want to hit that as hard as I can.
Yeah, and that's it. And the kink will sneak up on you, but you'll get it.
But
and the rest is pretty straightforward. There is a bump. Right before T1, there's a bump that'll get you as you're heading in there. Try to stay to the inside of the track.
Nelson's Ledges.
Right there. You got to stay to the inside by T1 up there. And then on the back stretch after T11, between T11 and T12, there's a fucking bump. If you stand on your pegs and let the bike bobble, you won't feel it. But if you sit on it, it'll fuck you up.
But so you've been communicating with Kevin about a project that you've been looking at.
Yeah, I'm addicted.
Yeah, so you're trying to find an extra way to get on the track, and part of that has been considering vintage racing.
Yeah, well,
and you just sent me a video of none other than a CB 160/175 racer that you can pick up for short change.
Yeah.
Which, interestingly enough, was what was Kevin's original race name was Pocket Change Racing, Kevin. I pulled that one out. I found some of your old Vance and decals that you gave me the one time.
Hell yeah.
Matt wants to know where he's hauling the motor hauler.
To Nelson's
Ledges Raceway.
There you go.
That's close from that.
Yeah, that's not far.
Well, that's
from
what I figured. It's right out there. I mean, if he wanted to go out there and camp out, watch some racing. Next weekend, yes, sir.
So Marshall asked, how many laps do you get to do? Well, you just get time. So basically the hour at least this is the way Fast Tracks does it, but I think a lot of different organizations do it the same way. But they divide the hour into 3 sessions. So usually it's like the intermediate guys go from the beginning of the hour to the 20 after, then the experts go from 20 to 40, and then the novices go from 40 to the beginning of the hour, and you repeat that. But then as a novice, at the beginning of the hour, then you have 20 minutes of class. So as soon as you get off the track, then you jump into this class, and you're thinking like, oh, fuck, you're tired, whatever, but they make sure you get water, whatever. But the classes are all so good that you're not even mad about it. Like, you learn a lot. Like, you're just on the track doing this, and like you feel like you're making mistakes. Like, not fucking up, but like you're like, I didn't do that right. And they kind of know, like, I guess they've been doing it long enough. They kind of figure out the progression of guys. They're going to figure shit out because in the next class, they're like, oh, and if you feel like you're not pulling in harder, let's put your foot on the peg now. And so it's like they kind of almost understand like what you're probably going through individually somehow. Just, I guess, doing it all the time. And so they offer this advice, and it ends up working. So each session, you keep using these tips and stuff, and by the end of the day, you're fucking going pretty fast, man. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
I'm impressed. You said 148.
That was one time on the back, dude. I just fucking tucked in and fucking
that's still a lot more impressive than Kevin.
Oh. Well, I mean,
Yeah, but Kevin wasn't
that's not-
backfiring.
yeah.
Hold on, we got to get the Johnny Mac cam on that one.
Oh wow! Here, wait a minute. You gotta get the right cam here.
Never be afraid to throw a brother under the bus.
He lost his hat.
Oh, man.
He said, how many laps did I get in? I don't know, a shit ton, dude. Like, I don't know, at least 10 laps a session, maybe 9 laps. It was a lot. It was enough that you were tired as fuck and you were kind of happy the session was over at the end of the
Pretty
20
happy
minutes.
you're done with that.
Yeah.
Steve, let me ask you this. So you said you topped out at 148. Were you happy with your gearing? Did you have more left to go, or
I think I ran out of Steve balls, but
Yeah.
besides that, no, I think it was fine.
you set it up pretty good, pretty well?
I mean, yeah, it has. I think it's +2 in the back, stock in the front. So it's a little nippier than just stock. I think it's not going to maybe +1. I'll have to look at it, but it's a Vortex sprocket, and I know it's different. It's either +1 or +2. But yeah, I didn't have any problem for that track. I don't know. Like, I'd have to think maybe if like Mid-Ohio, if I go down there or something, that's a much bigger track.
You're not really splitting hairs quite yet.
No, but you don't also. But
No.
I'm saying it. But I don't want to have the RPMs go to 17 million.
There was no elevation on that track. Like
No, there was
Mid-Ohio has
zero.
some
Yeah,
elevation.
Yeah,
At Nelson's, you can see every turn.
yeah.
So when you're on the track, you don't get lost on the track because you can literally see every turn. The downside is if you're like me, and when I'm going to a track, I can be like, oh, the stand of pine trees. So then I can reacquaint myself if I'm having a fuck you moment where I'm like, oh, have I gotten to the trees yet or the corner or whatever? And so sometimes when there's a track that doesn't have any, terrain features, even Circleville, as small as Circleville was, yeah, on the back straight, you're literally running into trees, like you're heading into the forest.
And the
so
thing about Nelson,
you know
is
where you
kind
are.
of fun, is it's kind of a hillbilly track, but like literally in the fucking class, they're like, you'll get used to this. When you come to the last turn over there, like as the thing, he's like, what you're going to want to do is, as soon as you can make the yellow road sign out that's a street over back there, that's when you want to hit the brake.
That's when you're braking. Yeah, that's the official braking marker.
Yeah.
If the raccoon throws a pine cone at you, you need to brake.
Yeah, I learned about the bump at Nelson's Ledges kind of the hard way. I got embarrassed, but it's a fun track, and I'm glad it's close to us and everything else. That's super cool. And if we can get the Lorain County Speedway thing going,
Dude,
that's going to be mini
definitely-
moto
we
heaven.
have Spec Buddy at the shop right now. Anybody
we
wants
do.
to buy in? It's about what, 1,500-ish?
Yeah, I mean, not even, right? I mean, come on, that's going to be it.
Well, we got about 7, so
You guys remember way back last week when we talked about going to Isle of Man and how it's so fucking dangerous, but not just for the guys on the motorcycles. Well, some fuckknuckle this year, just a few days ago, in fact, decided he was going to walk across the street. But he walked across the street where people are going 178 miles an hour. And
That traffic will close on you quickly.
it'll close on you real fucking quickly. And the thing is, this dumb shit climbed a fence to do it. And so Oscar and I have literally been where this guy crossed. There's a part of the track right after the start finish that's called the Big Blue Fence, right? So there's it's a Catholic school or whatever it is, big place, and you stand by the Big Blue Fence, and that's where you get those pictures where the bikes are like right fucking in front of us, right? So we're on the good side of the Big Blue Fence. But right across the street from that is a gas station. It's the first gas station you pass on the Isle of Man, and it's barricaded up and all that good shit. Now, here's the problem: is if you want to throw this up a little bit, Sleepy, I don't think we're going to step on anybody's toes. This fella in the pink shirt and the arm cast. No, I'm not lying. The guy's in a pink shirt and the arm cast. He walks across, and you can see that no sooner does he clear the fence than a motorcycle goes by him at Mach 7. Example, 3, 2, 1. There it goes. So that guy, and everybody's yelling at him, and now he's going to start flipping them off. And you can tell he's wearing his arm cast ornamentally because he's gesturing with the bad arm.
He looks sober too.
Yeah, he's so clearly sober.
did he need smokes that bad?
Yeah, he is truly giving the giant fuck you to the entire operation. So yeah, that happened. So no faster do we talk about it than some fucking dipshit crosses the street at the Isle of Man and has to go through several levels of barricades to make that shit happen. So yeah, not great, guy. Way to almost erase yourself from the gene pool. So
You know
that's a
what?
thing.
You know what? Not opposed. I mean, if it had hurt a rider, I would have been mad.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
But this guy, if he needs smokes that bad, man, you just have him, Ubered to you.
If a rider hits a bird at 170 miles an hour, that fucks up the rider. If a rider hits a 190-pound human being at 170 miles an hour, then it's all going to be a bad day for everybody.
I
mean, Marshall asked if they arrested him, but my
They
question
did.
is,
So the follow-up to that,
Yeah.
the story follow-up is, if you jaywalk in Cleveland, Ohio, you don't get a ticket.
Right.
If you jaywalk at the Isle of Man, you get 6 months in jail.
Wow.
So that little shortcut he took, and by the way, there's a bridge that goes over there.
I shared some pictures of Kevin's bike I sent to you. I don't know if you can
Yeah.
come up or not.
Cool. The 6 months in jail
6 months in jail for that.
for
because
walking across the street.
he
Well, I mean,
was-
you literally are putting people's lives at
Because you
risk.
couldn't
well,
be
it's-
bothered.
Like,
It's a closed course. I mean, at that point, and if there's a way to get there and not be stupid, do it.
Yeah. Well, they have made accommodations because they've been doing the race for 100 years on the same piece
Right.
of fucking road. So I've been there, and there's not too many places where you're like, okay, I want to go to that gas station, and they've made it impossible to get there. There are bridges.
I need a morning beer and
Yeah.
some smokes.
Yeah, there's
I
a
gotta
bridge.
Get there.
So, that's a thing. The other thing, and John, if you can throw those up to the Facebook Cleveland Moto group.
The chat or just the regular? Yeah, okay. I'll see what
Whichever
I can
one
do.
you want, either the chat or the regular Cleveland Moto.
Okay.
Just let me know. We're going to get to that. So apparently BMW decided that it wasn't okay for me to just own a BMW motorcycle anymore. Somebody decided to make a flat tracker kit for the R9T. And I already like the R9T. It's one of my favorite bikes to look at. I enjoy looking at the
You
R9T.
own two of them.
I do own two of them. And I like the R9T. But I just started liking the R9T just a little bit more. And if Sleepy pulls this picture up, you can see why. Because it's fancy. This is the R9T flat tracker kit.
And you actually own one in black and silver
I
right now.
do. I own this exact same motorcycle that they have modified in the picture. Yeah, I like it. I think it looks really good. I think it looks super cool. Yeah, I like that bike.
Well,
I think that's a
we're-
cool looking bike.
One of the weird side effects of the current economic situation we're currently finding ourselves in, people are going to keep their vehicles longer,
Yeah.
and they're going to want to customize them more.
Yeah.
And this is a thing people should look at it, which is, I have an R9T. I like to do something cool with it.
Yeah.
Here you go.
The chat.
Yeah.
And I am all over this. I am all about it. Like I've always
It's a cool looking bike.
Exactly. The only Harley I really like are the flat tracker kind of look.
Yeah, I do
That's
too.
my thing.
I definitely have a soft spot.
Storts kit. Am I getting that right?
That's correct. Yeah.
I love that with the whole flat track look with the side pipes, and this scratches that itch.
It does. It really, really does. It's a cool looking bike.
The Indian FTR is a good looking bike too.
Exactly.
It
It's
is.
just a nice, damn good looking bike.
It's very rare when somebody does a tracker conversion to a motorcycle and I don't just instantly love it. Yeah.
It's a thing. Like everybody,
style.
I need a Brat, I need a Chopper, I need a Bobber. You know what? I want a flat track.
Yeah, I've had a lot. Like I built a lot of cafe racers. You know, I like the bum stop looking seat. I like the low handlebars, the whole deal. I've always been a fan.
Yep.
But definitely, as I'm getting a little bit older, something's very nice about a nice upstanding riding position, handlebars that are where they're supposed to be. I've always liked flat trackers, and I never thought for 1 second about doing a big fucking oil head R12 tracker.
They're so I mean, hex heads and oil heads both are so prolific
Yes,
now,
they are.
and the bottom is kind of dropping out of
They
them.
are. Yeah.
So this is a no-brainer.
It's a
This
cool
is
bike.
good one.
Yeah, I like it. It's a cool bike.
I've always liked those. I thought ever since we went to Portland and watched them race and stuff, they sound great. They look great.
I kind of
I'm sorry you sold that one so fast that you had,
Oh, the FTR?
and I never got a chance to ride it.
I know. I wanted to ride that too.
I never came to a podcast. I'm a little upset about this.
Wait,
Bikes
was that
don't
like- was that
bikes
in a-
don't go up for sale to the general public
Jesus
until they've
Christ.
been to a
Jeez, come
podcast.
on,
New
man.
rule.
Fucking guy.
Well, you know what?
Fuck you.
When somebody's
Go fuck your ass.
hey.
when somebody
The one thing I've learned about Phil is that if somebody shows up and goes, "Look, I am going to rain money on you like you're a fucking stripper," he's like, "You know what? Sold."
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you guys, that was my opening price. You know, when I got that bike and I took it in on trade, I looked at the market and I was like, well, this bike's had a lot, you know, it's been tuned. It's had some money thrown at it. It's very tasteful. It would have been better had it been the red and white and black livery, not just the black. But who cares?
Bibberty.
I took it for one ride, and on the one ride, I was like, well, that's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
Right? That's pretty fucking cool. And so that one ride put $1,000 extra on the price tag. And it turns out the right human being showed up because I knew he was the right guy because he didn't even counter offer.
No, I walked out and you were like, all right, cool, see ya. Bye-bye. I was like, did the FTR just leave?
Oh, that guy had been looking for an FTR for a long time. And we came in, he was like, well, I was going to give you X amount for it. And I said, here's all the takeoff parts, and here's all the things that have been done to it. And he went, oh, I'm sorry, I insulted you. And he says, no, you're asking prices more than fair.
Absolutely smart.
And that was it. And that's why I was like, well, I'm not going to meet that guy again.
No.
Right? I get one shot at that dude.
Well, he knew what he was getting, though. You know what I mean?
Happiest guy in the world.
That's kind of the thing. But I love the idea.
I wanted to try it, though. Oh.
Because I kind of...
Was it the winter? When the fuck did you have that? Because we didn't ride it for some reason.
It was fucking November.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
So the bike came in like November 14th.
Yeah.
And then it was gone by November 19th.
Yeah.
Because if it tells you anything, I didn't get a chance to ride
Nobody
it.
got a chance to ride it. I rode it one time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this idea
yeah.
right here, see, one of the things I kind of miss right now in this period of time is that the chopper craze was cool, the cafe racer craze was cool, and everybody got into it, and you know, there are these little crazes where it goes, oh, I got to do this thing. It's awesome. Everybody's doing it right now.
You neglected to med the brat bikes,
and the brat,
the street tracker.
all the stuff. But right now seems to be this lull
Street
period
fighters.
where nobody's customizing anything. Nobody's really doing anything kind of cool.
They
And
need to bring
I-
back.
Are you insane, dude?
You know what they need to do? They need to
what am
bring
I-
back the 1920s
Dude,
board track racer type
baggers
bikes.
are like fucking, dude. They're making baggers with like fucking stereo houses behind them.
Oh no, that's I don't.
I mean, I
that's-
just saw
you
a
know, that's
video.
like-
The
that's like-
sound. What is it? The sound of baggers.
That's like the rave scene from like 1994.
But they were at
like it's too late.
They were at Southeast Harley or whatever. They had this whole thing. They have an SPL competition for fucking baggers.
Yeah.
Dude, it looked like it looked
So
like
instead of an armor-plated Chevy Astro,
right.
where the sound is pointing in,
Yeah, now it's
you
all right.
have a motorcycle that is a speaker transportation
But it
system.
literally looks like they have like
This
one of those
really is the
Kmart
worst
sheds
fucking
put
timeline.
on the back of the bike. Like
Well,
it's fucking crazy.
And
man.
I did see the one at Southeast. I saw the highlights from that, where the guy who dominated had a trailer with him
Oh yeah,
that supplied the power.
yeah.
So the man was off grid. He had so many wattages. He was abusing Ohm's law so violently.
He was sponsored
You
by
know what?
Predator.
Hey, I know it ain't our thing, but like they're fucking passionate, so I'm
Yes, they
all
are.
about it, man. That was cool.
you
It's different, you
know-
know. But like they'd even all them dudes still had the 36-inch front wheels, so these bikes have to be hundreds of. That's going to be the $5,000 bikes in 10
That's
years.
good a trick.
Yeah.
And that's already hit the scooter community. We have people here we have people in Cleveland that have Kimco scooters and have Suzuki Bergman scooters that have 48 speakers on them.
Mm-hmm.
So the human being can barely get on the bike. But it's nothing but a speaker transportation
What do you have to
system.
say, Tom?
I am so disappointed.
Well, let me say, I'm sorry you got cut off. What do you need to say?
I said I am so disappointed.
Yeah.
This is. I mean, if you're going to do something, oh yeah, I'm going to put speakers on it like it's a Chevy Astro from 1992.
We're going to find out. We're going to find out how bad the market is because I gave somebody a offer on a 2022 or 2023 Harley Davidson 883 that had a sound system professionally installed by an actual audio company, and it came in and it's an 883 iron black, the cheapest way you can buy a Sportster, and there's the obligatory couple of 3 dents in the gas tank and whatever. But he came in and he's like, well, it'd be great if you can give me like $3,500 for it. And I looked at the bike and I was like, that's a $2,200 bike. Like, it's got the scratches. Do you have the original exhaust system that you replaced with household plumbing? Nope, you don't. Okay, do you have the original front fender? Do you have any of the stuff that you took off the bike? No, I don't. I was like, yeah, that's a $2,200 bike.
The funniest
I
part
think he'll come back.
The funniest part of this conversation was it was a 2023 Harley Davidson.
Yeah.
Didn't matter what the rest of the numbers and the letters and the bullshit and what was behind it. And I was wheeling out at the same time a Vespa GTS 250 IE, which is about 15 years old.
I was going to say, year of our Lord 2007.
And I'm wheeling this bike out, and the problem is this Vespa, which is 15 years old and a 250cc fuel-injected bike, is worth more than a Harley-Davidson Sportster. And in my head, this doesn't work. The gear's kind of stripped.
Because it's a Harley-Davidson, and they're supposed to be worth real money.
They're supposed to be worth money.
And that's where it gets into this kind of a thing where you're like, okay, well, this is a crazy upside-down, topsy-turvy world. Where how in the hell can it possibly be? And I'm sorry, it had to be a 2022 because the 2023 was the Nightster. So it's got to be a 2022 because that's the 883. And it is. It's disturbing.
I think at this point, the Harley Street 500s, they have to pay you money to take them.
They're not. Those Indian-made bikes are just worth
Which is
less.
sad because they actually look kind of cool.
They're worth nothing at that point.
Isn't Dan working on one in Cincinnati?
Dan had something. I saw
Something.
pictures.
He had like the 500 or 750.
I think it was an
750.
XT500.
Oh, really? An Indian bike?
Yeah. He said it was his
They changed the steering head
nephews
bearings
or something like that.
Yeah.
He said the bike wouldn't turn. The kid was riding a bike where it literally was center locked.
because I have heard headset bearings on the XT500 and the 750s are no good.
He said it had zero grease, not 1 ounce of grease on
But
that fucking head bearing.
it's still in my head that a 20-year-old Vespa is worth more than a Harley Davidson. Does not work in my head.
It would have to speak to the absolute devaluation of the 883 platform.
Exactly.
And that's really, I think, what it does. I think that's the part that nobody can square themselves with because for so long everyone thought their Harley was worth 20 grand. But, when you've got a bike that is that bike, it's not great. Yeah, it's not great.
Here's a good message for
They
you.
were.
got?
That's the bet and win conversation.
Oh, hey, Phil Renee says to remind you to bring the pink bike in. Ha ha.
No, we left it up.
Did we leave it out again?
We left it up by the dumpster. No, it's inside.
Oh, it did come in?
It is
Okay.
inside.
All right.
No, I think I left it by the trailer in the shop because I knew if we left it outside, we literally would leave it for the Jawas.
Well, what's going to happen is this customer brought in a bike that was glued in fiberglass together. So, the previous owner, in an interest of like, let's put all the parts in one place to sell it, said, well, we can't put all the parts in one place if all the things that the parts get hooked to are broken. So they glued the bike together.
So that is the best.
Really?
Yeah.
That is the best Kimco ever built. Hands down. It's the Bet and Win 250.
Okay. All right.
Objectively, it's one of the best bikes ever built.
All right.
But this is the worst example of that bike you could ever possibly get. It's at 25,000 miles. It is worn out.
Somebody
like an
took
old
the bike
pencil.
all apart and said, I'm going to fix it. They probably got it for free or it was stolen.
Oh, yeah.
So they got it for free or it was stolen. Somebody took it all apart and said, I'm going to fix it. Meth was involved.
Yeah.
The bike was completely systematically disassembled. And then somebody said, get that fucking thing out of the garage. And they went, I can sell it. There are people dumber than me on Facebook Marketplace. And so they put it back together hastily with no rhyme or reason or hardware.
But with wire nuts.
They literally took the entire wiring harness. They had cut the ECU out of the bike. They had cut everything out, and they put everything back together with brown wire nuts. So everything was reconnected
Like
with
hundreds of wires?
like at least 16 you could see from the outside of the bike. We weren't going any deeper because we couldn't go deeper because the bike was no shit glued together.
Yeah.
If your mechanic welds the hood of your car closed, get rid of your car.
Yeah.
Okay? If the mechanic welds the doors to your car closed, get rid of your car.
Yeah.
What they had done is they put the fucking bike back together again and painted it periwinkle, or what is that color? Mauve? What's the color?
It is hot pink. It was
Hot
hot
pink?
blank and
Yeah.
hot pink and
Purpley
black.
pinkly, right, yeah,
And
and
they
black.
did not remove the Bet and Win stickers.
No,
so
no,
it was
no.
over the Bet and Win stickers. They didn't remove the plastic, the rubber off the floorboards.
They bondoed over the turn signals, boys.
And I'm like, oh my god.
And
They should have just taken a thing of spray foam after they stuck it all together
no,
and
I think-
filled it in. Just
I think they kind of did.
from the outside of the bike at 20 feet, I could see the RTV and silicone literally dripping out of the body seams
so now it's
onto the ground.
It's unsinkable now.
No.
It is definitely unsinkable.
It's the amphibious Bet and Win.
But then I looked at the exhaust system. There's supposed to be 5 bolts. There was one
Yeah.
finger tight holding everything together. Then I looked at the shock. There was no nuts on the shock. So this bike was clearly, get that out of the garage. And somebody's like, okay, I'll get it out of the garage and I'll make $50. So the person, our victim, our customer, paid money for it. And I said, if there's any way on God's green earth that you can get that money back, if you bought it from a friend, if you bought it from somebody you know,
If it's comprehensive insurance,
you need to get that money back. And I said, is there a title? Oh, they said there was a title. And I'm like, well, before you sign a title and before you take any possession of this, I would recommend contacting, law enforcement or somebody to try to make a case for like how you can unbuy this bike. Because this is what we see a lot of in our world is, I just bought this. Can you fix it? And
no, we can't.
in this particular case, it's like, no, we can't, because you don't have enough money to pay us what it would cost to fix it, because I know what you paid for this, right? And other things exist. So if you had $1,200 more, you would have bought $1,200 worth of bike.
If you had more money,
Right.
we have a Bergman.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. But anyway, the idea is just to make the point, the cocksucker is legitimately glued together.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
It's
And
not
they're
a good
like,
thing.
and she goes, well, it couldn't be glued together all the way because they said that they changed the starter and they changed the fuel pump and they changed the voltage regulator and they changed this. I'm like, they told you all this.
This is not making it better, actually.
And she's
in my
like,
head.
yes, they told me all this. And I said, are you aware that people lie in your fantasy world?
Yeah.
And meanwhile, any one of us would have seen this bike and went, oh, we get to drop it from a tall building now.
Yeah.
Right? You have just put this together like a piñata, enough so it resumes the shape of a scooter. We painted it in a bright color.
We would have burned this in like 2003.
The point is, it's a high contrast color. It'll look really good
we
on
would have
video.
done burnouts
when
and
we
burned this thing.
drop it from a very tall tower.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, that's what
This
all
is-
this bike is there
yeah.
for. Yeah, it's all it's there for.
Which is literally a shame. Like, it is one of my favorite 250s.
Yeah, you know what? In year of our Lord 2002,
Yeah.
this was the best 150 or 250 liquid cooled
Yeah.
that Kimco was offering.
Yeah.
But since then, there have been 53
lot-
bikes I can name
a lot
that are
better
better.
bike, yeah.
Right, including
Well, we had this conversation
Right.
about the people in Liberty.
right. There was a day when it was really great, and that day has passed.
Yes.
Right. And 1984 Ford Escorts were legendary at one point for their reliability.
No,
and that is
87
no
was the good year.
longer the case. Yeah, that's it. All of stories that were sung and songs that were sung about the reliability of that car are no longer being sung. Yeah, those aren't even greatest hits anymore. Yeah.
So, hey, Smith, have you been riding your Janus a lot lately?
I have been riding my Janus.
Have you been
Is
enjoying?
that the end of the question? Or?
Yes.
Have you
that's the
been
end of the
Have you
question.
been enjoying your Janus? How many miles have you put on your Janus?
I've got just short of 8,000 miles on it.
Yeah, and you've enjoyed all 8,000 of those, huh?
I have.
So, have you guys all seen the internets with all the things going on? Because one person unfortunately had an accident.
Our friend, so those of you who were with me on our Las Vegas adventure will remember that when we were at the AIM Expo at the motorcycle show that night, and we're hanging out by the artificial fire
Which is the greatest thing ever.
with the Misfits, that
Yes.
our friend Doodle came by.
Yep.
And I got to hang out with Doodle. We talked about some really cool bikes that were out there, and of course, I wasn't the least bit surprised to see what an amazingly cool, smart person she is.
Yeah, definitely down to earth and nice, man.
Very, very cool, and a very good ambassador for motorcycle riding, right? Certainly somebody that definitely talks the talk and walks the walk, and had a great time hanging out with her. She was super cool. And again, I consider her part of our tribe. Right? She rides all kinds of cool bikes. She has all kinds of cool motorcycle
Well,
adventures.
and she was-
She's done law enforcement motorcycle training.
And she was always honest the whole time. Like,
Yep.
I remembered, like, a couple years ago seeing it, and, like, she was honest about her journey. Like, when
Yeah.
she started, she didn't really know a lot, and then
Yeah.
you got to see her progress, and that was really neat to see somebody kind of post their journey of how they got in. you know.
Yeah, I agree. And she had a pretty spectacular off whilst riding a Janus motorcycle that she was going to be riding on a Route 66 Cross America trip.
Right.
And her spectacular off, she was actually, nobody did better commentary on her off than she did.
Right.
She handled it like a pro. She walked it off, and then she found out later on that sometimes a little bump and ouch and bruises can turn out to be a big fucking problem.
But
Yep.
it was a really good proof, though, that gear really does work. Like,
does
she
work.
literally did not have any lacerations
No,
or
she did great.
anything, man.
But-
so, like,
You know, human bodies.
human bodies are that, but think about it. Without the gear, it would have been a lot.
And
So what caused the crash?
So I've been in that situation. Raise your hand if you've ever had a tank slapper. Yeah, whole bunch of them, right? Whole bunch of them. And I personally have been lucky enough to never have a tank slapper push me into the ground.
Wait, let's go back one. How many people have almost crashed from riding on the fucking wiggly line fucking roads that
Groove
they put in
payment?
Cleveland?
Groove payment?
Just riding on that.
Groove payment, especially on bridges.
Oh, yeah.
On a
can
vintage
be-
bike, like a fucking CB350 going to DGR.
Yeah.
And fucking getting in that, and I was like, what the fuck is
Well,
going
'cause
on?
it's you are not a slot car, but you just became one for a moment.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
That alone is scary, too.
You have something now trying to change your experience and putting you into a direction you may not want to go.
Right.
And in construction zones where they have heavily grooved payments, or if you go somewhere they're trying to do snow mitigation or ice mitigation, and they have the groove payment, and the groove payment may not be going the direction that you want to go.
When you cross a metal graded bridge, it's the worst fucking thing ever.
Depends on the bridge.
No,
Depends on your tires.
Freaking, yeah.
Depends on the bridge. Depends on your tires.
Depends on your suspension. Depends on whether or not you have a steering dampener.
Yep.
Are my West Coast listeners who've gone across to Coronado? So if you've ever gone across the bridge to Coronado, you know that is a pucker factor. You're 120 feet up in the air, and you can see the ocean below you, and now you're on one of the most open bridges, the grading on that thing, and I used to go across that thing all the time, and every time I'd go across that bridge, I would see God.
That's kid stuff. Let's talk Mackinac.
Mackinac Bridge is another great example. Absolutely terrifying. And again, the openings in Mackinac are big enough that big chunks of ice and snow can fall through them. So it's one of the most ridiculous open.
There's a
grids.
documented case of a Yugo blowing off of that bridge. Look it up.
Oh my God!
Holy shit.
Oh my!
A car blew off the bridge.
But, okay, so getting back to what you were talking
But I do want to go
about.
back for 1 second.
Yeah.
About the tank slappers.
Yes.
Okay. We all know somebody, and we're not going to talk about it. I'm not going to name names, but we know somebody in this room that had a tank slapper. That's the reason why they don't have as many toes as they were born with.
Right.
She's in the chat.
And I saw it happen, front row seat. And I can break it down. I can tell you exactly why it happened. I can tell you what happened. And in her particular case, it's wind. Okay, but it's something else taking control of the gyroscopic motion of the front wheel, overpowering the gyroscopic power of the front wheel. And that's where we have to talk about tank slappers or wobbles or weaves or whatever you want to
Death
fucking
wobble,
call it. Death
whatever.
wobbles,
Yeah.
whatever. Your front wheel of your motorcycle is a gyroscope. A gyroscope wants to do one thing, and that is hold its direction. Whether you are talking about a guidance system in an old airplane, or a guidance system in a piece of artillery, or a guidance system in an old boat. A gyroscope is designed, and its whole purpose is to maintain its orientation. It is no different than when you hold that gyroscope vertically. It wants to maintain its direction. When we were children, if you had a better than public school education, you sat in an office chair with a bicycle wheel in front of you, your physics or science teacher spun it, and you got to impart energy against that axle and rotate the direction of your office chair.
Remember when you could hold that on the one side?
Yep.
And it would just, you were like, what the fuck?
Exactly.
Yeah,
And you learned about gyroscopic energy. You learned about gyroscopic control that way, and you could appreciate how much power was involved. That you could change the orientation of a 250-pound person simply through the rotation, the movement of an axle, and you could put myself on or off balance that much. Now, we're talking about a motorcycle. That gyroscope, anytime you tap it,
Yeah.
it wants to restore its inertial direction. And this is going to come into big play when we start talking about what happened in Doodle's crash. And what we're also going to talk about what happened to each and every one of us when each and every one of us had our tank slapper moment. I have had motorcycles in my past where at 80 miles an hour, 85 miles an hour, I would get down low to make the motorcycle go faster, 1978 Honda CB750, with spoke wheels and inner tubes. And I would get low on the bike and get my head down low so I could go faster. And if I was in a certain orientation on the bike and I would start going faster, I would have to be very, very vigilant for that feeling of, oh shit, here it comes. Here it comes. Because I have been to the point where that thing would go full lock-to-lock tank slapper at 80 miles an hour.
It's a CB750 thing.
We know.
My CB750 riding through the park would not be a death. It would just go like this.
And you could get it back.
And I would ride the whole way through the park. The whole time it would just be like, what is wrong with the bike? And it just seemed
It's
like
hunting.
It's certain places, certain road surfaces, those particular tires, whatever the geometry of that bike. And it wasn't a speed wobble. It was like just a low speed. It just wanted to fucking shimmy.
So, has anybody ever had one of these bikes, or that you said it had did it many times? My bike had done it many times.
Yep.
Have you gone down the rabbit hole of correcting it, of fixing it?
I never did. But the first thing I would have did was change the tires. I felt like the tires, but also it was kind of specific to that roadway. It never seemed to do it except when I was going through the parkway at that speed, and it just wanted to do it there. I don't know why.
Well, yeah, there's vibrations, there's frequencies. If the road has a certain, if the road has a certain frequency
at exactly 99 miles per hour, because it has the world's cheapest Shinko on the front of it, my Thruxton coming across Slidell would go side to side to side to side. 97, you were fine.
You're fine.
99, it was looking for any track it could find.
Right.
Think about it this way: have you ever had in a car that at certain speeds it feels like a wheel's out of balance?
It is.
It's the same thing. So like you get up to 55 and it starts shimmying, you accelerate to 60 and it goes away.
Smart people call it a harmonic.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So-
that's the unique
right.
set of.
And that's that circumstance
resonance.
where a very small thing, the resonance, can go through and become a very big thing. Now, what most people tend to do is they tend to focus on the front of the motorcycle, because that's the part that's scaring them. They focus on the front of the motorcycle. And they'll do things like they may add extremely heavy handlebar weights. They may put a snake through the middle of the handlebars, a heavy weight through the middle of the handlebars to make the handlebars heavier.
A steering dampener is
steering
probably the
dampener
most logical thing.
Is what a lot of people will do. A lot of people will tear down their front end to make sure that they don't have a pinched fork, or they don't have a pinched caliper can do this.
Or wonky bearings in the headset.
Absolutely, wonky bearings can all lead to this.
about just misaligning your rear tire.
That's where I found my problem. So where I found my problem with my bike was my dumbass saw some lines on my axle, my swing arm, on my 1978 CB750. And there were a series of lines adjacent to the bolt that holds the axle on. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 lines. So I was going, if I put this new chain on and I make the chain the correct tension, and I am at 4 lines on the left chain side, then I should be at 4 lines on the right non-chain side.
I think everybody's done this.
Okay?
Everybody's
and
done
we
this.
will then say, if I am 4 lines here and 4 lines here, torque her down, she's straight. And I had gone out and I had experienced said death wobble at about 80-ish so many times, it was freaking me the fuck out. And I was a younger guy. And one of these guys, the guy's like, is your back wheel on straight? And I was like, yeah, dude, I measured it. And then I went back and loosened it and measured it again. He's like, well, you know, your chain, brand new chain, it slacks out. You probably need to tension it again. And I did it again. What I didn't do was I didn't actually aim my back tire. I did not put a mechanical device between the sides of my tire or my rim and aim it to the front of the motorcycle. I had just used the hash marks that Honda had installed there in 1978 when they built the bike. And what I realized is once I went to that my back tire was in fact not straight. My back tire was optically, visually
Once
wrong.
we put the laser on it,
Yeah,
we'll
lasers
know
didn't
exactly
exist.
where it's at.
Not for this application. So, you know, sharks with freaking laser beams on
Yep.
their heads. But what had happened was I realized
What happened was,
when I ran it out and when I did a run out test on it and when I actually put a nice straight piece of steel across that, a piece of 1-inch angle iron, and when I ran that forward, how out of true or out of aim my rear wheel was. And what was happening then is my front wheel is always trying to do what? Go back online. My front wheel wants nothing more than to go straight. My back wheel is perpetually saying, I'd like to crab out, please.
You're pushing a snowplow.
That's exactly right.
The whole bike wants to go like this.
Exactly.
You get this thing.
And at 80 miles an hour or so, it would become a problem. Now, I had learned through experience that my particular tactic was, since you're having a hell of a time hanging under the handlebars anyway, which is terrifying, you'd get your ass a little further on the back of the seat and you'd apply rear brake. So I'd drop my body weight lower, I'd apply rear brake. And if I sat upright, shit got bad real fast. So sitting upright didn't work. Getting my head down lower, getting my body mass lower, and dropping my ass back on the seat, yeah, that was pretty funny. Keeping the correct crystals in your pocket. Zimbo says you need to keep the correct crystals in your pocket to maintain a proper resonance frequency. Fuck yeah, you do.
I keep them in my prison wallet.
No, I just align my chakras and we're good.
Little quartz up your ass, it's good to go.
Just align your chakras.
Sure.
Well,
442, man.
every single time that I would do that, it would solve the problem. So I was like, okay, well, when the problem happens, drop your ass back, ride up on the rear brake, and everything goes good. Well, now I'm smarter and older and understand better what I was doing. And then once I straightened the back wheel out, magically the bike's good up to 100 miles an hour. Right? Never wobbled again. Brand new tires, the whole deal. Never fucked up ever again. The problem wasn't the front of the bike. The problem was the back of the bike. We have a problem in our Vespa community with the GTS 250. Type in the word GTS 250 wobble or GTS wobble. Stand back. Your computer's going to start smoking. It's everybody. And everybody acts like they're the first person that's ever had it happen. All I was doing was I was driving past my neighbor and I tried to wave with both hands and all of a sudden my bike killed me. Well, guess what? Kimco Grand Vista 250s do it just as bad because they have a very steep steering head angle. They have a very small 12-inch wheel that doesn't have a lot of gyroscopic authority, but its incidence or its speed of going off and coming back on again, because it's a smaller gyroscope, it happens faster. Little wheels wiggle faster than big wheels do.
We found, because we ran into this with a 250 with a customer of ours in New Orleans, and she was insistent on we had to get rid of the wiggle. Mm-hmm. And we kept putting city grips on it and kept wiggling because the city grips, no matter what, they would wiggle. Yeah. We put
shittiest tire you can buy.
We put a Duro on the front, which is literally the $12 special off Amazon at the time.
Yep.
Put it on the front, wiggle went away.
Yeah.
And we were like, what the fuck? Well, the problem is the city grip has grip.
Right.
The Duro
does not have grip.
So the Duro was like skipping across like a stone in a lake, and it was straight as an arrow.
And meanwhile, had you taken the motor out of the bike, replaced the rubber motor mounts with hard nylon rubber mounts, you would have fixed the wobble. You would have fixed the oscillation. The problem with this particular vehicle is that motor scooters, the motor and the transmission and everything is all on one piece of metal. So you have a hell of a lot of unsprung weight there. And that operation, to make the bike not transmit every little bump in the road to your spine, the manufacturers all use very soft rubber in the swing arm mounts. Because your motor is not mounted into the front of the frame and isolated, your motor is part of that swinging assembly. So because your motor's part of that swinging assembly, there's a lot of mass there going up and down. It's also going side to side. If you grab a 10-year-old motor scooter's back tire and you wiggle it, it will move 3 inches left and right.
Every 8,000 mile plus LX, you can just freaking take the rear end and shake it around.
Of course.
You can check the same thing on a conventional motorcycle too by just seeing how the swing arm, if the bushings or...
I ran into that with a Moto Guzzi lately. So because you have to adjust the swing arm pivots.
I
guess is
that's what they are. They're pivots. Yep.
I had... You don't check those because...
Why would you?
Why would you?
Why would you?
And this one, the guy was like, well, when you put it in gear, it doesn't go anywhere. And it was because the freaking cardan joint was locking out.
Right.
Because every time you sat on it, it had just
That's what I thought
weight.
was hilarious. When you were not sitting on the bike, you'd let the clutch out and it would go forward.
Go forward.
When you sat on the bike, you let the clutch out, it didn't go anywhere. Because it was enough to pull the drive shaft apart.
It pulled the cardan joint out of the output shaft.
But going back to my original statement regarding Doodle's crash, when we have a back end of the vehicle that has a low tire pressure, there's this side-to-side motion that we're allowing it to have, what will happen is the incident starts when the back wheel is allowed to go left and right. Now, if you have something that has a nice soft rubber-mounted rear swing arm for the comfort of the rider, or it's got 100,000 miles on it, or it's 15 years old, and now we have this swing, what happens is that oscillation back there is corrected by the front.
What if there's no swing arm?
Exactly. So in this particular case, with this particular motorcycle, there's no swing arm. It's a rigid. But what this motorcycle has,
So what kind of motorcycle was it?
it's
I
a
was gonna
Janus
say, this is back
250.
to the
Yeah.
Janus.
Back to a Janus
Yeah.
250,
Yeah.
the bike in question.
Same as Chris.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is the Halcyon 250.
This is a Halcyon 250. This is a rigid back end, which can make you go, well, we know that the back end wasn't swinging around because it's a fucking rigid. However,
But was the wheel aligned?
was the wheel aligned, and it was a transition from non-graded pavement to graded pavement
With a bump.
with a bump.
With a bump.
And if you've ever ridden a Janus motorcycle, you will know they don't exactly have TT handlebars. What do they have, Chris?
Beach style.
Fucking big old beach style handlebars, baby. They are embracing the 1920s board tracker look. Your handlebars, where your grips are on that motorcycle, are about 1.5 feet back and 2 feet away from the triple clamps of the bike. So as you can imagine, even a small bump or oscillation is going to you on these giant tillers to impart quite a bit of swing there.
And if you've got short arms because you're a smaller human being, then you're going to have less leverage.
Closer, Chris.
You're going to have less leverage to maintain any kind of
Or
control.
correct it. And what type of front suspension is on a Janus motorcycle? Is it a conventional front fork? No,
No,
It's an Earl's type.
the leading link.
it's an Earl's fork. And with an Earl's fork, you also have more mass behind the axle. The way an Earl's fork operates, and this is something that I immediately, when I saw her crash, I thought about the science of where the parts are
So
on that motorcycle.
So, do you have a demo? Do you have a demo of an Earl's to put up? Because I'm not sure. Because just to be sure that everybody at home knows what we're talking about. Because this is the first thing I thought of when I saw. Because I just saw the raw video. I don't want to give. I don't care anybody's commentary. I just want to see
Right.
what happened.
So, in this motorcycle, you can see that there's the pivot. There is the axle of the motorcycle. And normally in a motorcycle, you would not have all of this weight happening behind the pivot. You would have a fork, and the fork would have the shock absorber built into the fork. So your shock absorber would be having a direct line under the headset bearings. So the pivot point of the front handlebars at the triple clamp would be drawing a straight line down to the axle of your vehicle. In an Earl's type fork, what makes them superior for sidecars and makes them superior for those types of applications is your front suspension is going up and down, and you are less likely to encounter a dive incident in the Earl's fork. And I had a BMW that had this configuration on it as well. But what you end up with is how much metal mass is behind the pivot point of the triple clamp on this motorcycle.
Hey, Grant clarified it's a leading link.
Leading
not a
link,
true
thank you.
Earl.
It's
not
fair.
true Earls.
That's
right,
fair.
Right. It's fair. It's a leading link. Yep. So this motorcycle has a lot of metal happening behind the triple clamps. So as you can imagine, when an oscillation were to start to happen, you have a lot of mass favoring one particular side of the oscillation. The handlebars themselves are quite long and they're quite wide and they're aiming quite back at the rider. We also have a lot of mass behind the front axle. So I might even argue that something that would not be as energetic on a motorcycle with a traditional front fork may feel more energetic, as I have had a tank slapper on a motorcycle with a BMW motorcycle with a sidecar and this configuration. And I was surprised at how strong it was. And I've had tank slappers on a hell of a lot of sidecar rigs.
So, going out on a limb.
Yeah.
Everybody here has ridden in this podcast has ridden a trailing link bike.
Yeah.
Earl's or otherwise.
Yeah, exactly.
Because everybody here either has ridden Chris's bike
Right.
or a Honda Elite or a Honda Dream.
Sure.
Or an old BMW.
That was my next
Exactly.
point, is that
Right.
between all of us, there might be 3 of us that have ridden a Slash 2 Euro, because this is a European thing. This is not, because the
Go ahead and throw
American
the picture
Slash
up.
2s had a conventional fork.
So there's my BMW. Mm-hmm. So
And this is going to be the most boomer thing I probably have ever said, is that kids today have never really experienced this style of motorcycle with a leading link fork.
sure.
So when you get into a situation, I mean, this is just the same as a right shifting British bike or an upside down shifting European bike when they did the shit in 74 and everything else. If you haven't experienced this on a regular basis, you don't know the handling characteristics of a quirky bike like this. And so when you get into a situation with a transition like that, it gets in over your head real fast.
Understood.
So
The
this is a lot of stuff coming at you real fast.
A tank slapper on any motorcycle is a seeing God moment. It is. It can be worse for you if you have a small wheel that doesn't have a lot of moment of anxiety because it's going back and forth very, very fast.
Yeah.
And sometimes a strong person or a heavy person can overpower that desire for it to go back and forth, side to side, very, very fast. On a bike that has a 21-inch wheel, that has a heavy front suspension, once it goes offline and it says, I'm going to go back online now, it overshoots the mark. And then it says, I'm going to go back online again, and it overshoots the mark. And it keeps doing that until something changes a lot. And that means we either slow down a whole lot or we're upside down, right? So hopefully it's something slows down and then the tank slapper goes
Or
away.
you take some sort of corrective action, maybe like you said on your CB750, you shift your weight rearward.
I thought the conventional wisdom, I mean, and it's difficult to do because if your handlebars are flopping around, how you throttle control, and maybe even that plays a little part of it because if your throttles goes this way, you're letting off on. Is there also that can also be a factor? But
I love the one that says don't grab the brakes. I've had one happen to me where my hands weren't on the motorcycle.
yeah,
My hands were
where
my
people literally
handlebars
take
used
their
to
hands
be.
away and hope
Yeah.
it calms down. But I thought the conventional wisdom was to just try to pull straight back. Your hands are going to go like this, but if you can just try to pull straight back and let off the throttle easily, don't try to weight the front end. You can get out of it better.
Yeah.
But I mean, because my KLR would do it all the time.
Yeah.
I would drive to work at
21-inch wheel.
21-inch wheel,
Yeah.
20 minutes of like it was just constantly
Just
going like this,
Waiting for it to happen.
and whatever. But
Well, didn't they post like what did didn't she pay the NTSB or somebody like that to
She
do
did.
their investigation?
Yeah.
So like they came up with something. I read it. And I remember like
Their
kind of agreeing
solution,
with it.
their
but-
solution or their observation was that it wasn't a mechanical defect in the motorcycle. It was a condition of the roadway. It's something that
exigent
exists.
circumstances. It
It's
was
That's the
exigent
thing.
extraordinary
So it
situation.
seems, because like there's kind of a movement now with some of the bigger YouTubers, these guys that like to talk, that are really trying to blame the bike in general.
They just want clicks, man.
That's what I'm
Absolutely.
getting at. Like, we've all ridden this bike.
If
in
the
this
only
room.
thing you can do is tear something down and everybody sits around you and goes, oh, I'm a SEAL, I'm going to clap for you because you did a thing and you blew it up. Well, fuck you. I don't give a shit.
Well, one of the things you guys were talking about with the unique handling characteristics of the leading link.
Yeah.
And I keep wanting to say Earls. But, like, for instance, John was saying, like, the brake is attached to the arm. So basically, as you're using the brake, it's taking away suspension a little bit, so you're not getting the dive that you get from a normal motorcycle.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
So that
it's
is-
actually a positive when it's
Right.
it's an anti-dive situation.
Exactly.
That's what made that setup kind of popular.
Well, because the
so.
whole front end rises up instead of dives down. Because
Mm-hmm.
a conventional fork actually sucks. That's the reason why BMW does the whole telelever, where it doesn't dive. It just stays fucking straight.
Stays right where
Now,
it is.
I think,
But
what
everybody's cheap as shit, so they go with this whole conventional fork. They're like, oh, you're just going to dive like an idiot.
I think in two, we've all been sort of fortunate. My wobbles all happened on pavement. They didn't happen just as I was transitioning from pavement to gravel, and probably if they had, I probably would have wrecked.
Sleepy, can I?
I've never had a serious wobble in gravel. That would have really be.
Can I put the video that I'm going to put up? Can I put it up without us getting in trouble, or can I just?
Yeah, I think we can if we don't. I mean, because we're discussing it, so it's
Okay.
fair use.
Yeah,
This is
all
under
right.
fair use.
So go ahead and throw this up. Now, what we have here is this is the perfect example of a 70s motorcycle, and it's proving that if you take your hands off the handlebars, the motorcycle will not eventually explode. What will happen is it will just continue to be that symptom. And in these cases, this motorcycle's throttle has been locked so that it's going to maintain a certain speed. You can see this driver just keeps his hands on his legs, and this is a BMW, you know, we all know that motorcycle. And it's doing its thing, and it's terrifying, but these are trained riders. These are guys that know what they're doing, and they are going to let the motorcycle do it.
Oh, I've definitely had that one.
Right?
That's not good.
And this is a brown trousers moment right
Dude,
there.
that sucks, man.
And if you're listening, when you watch this video, you're going to go to the show notes and you're going to watch this video because everyone needs to watch this
That
video.
was me at Mid-Ohio on the C270 in the turn. I was like, fuck!
And there's a guy coming out right now on a KZ1 or KZ900. Sorry, KZ900. And where this guy's about to go on this motorcycle is, by anybody's standards, get off the motorcycle, right?
Yeah.
Kind of a moment. And he's just going to let it happen. And he's got such, these guys are riding it out. So these are things that happen.
God,
now,
that fairing, I love
of course, it's terror. That's the stops anything in no time.
It's
The
fucking
Saint.
sexy.
But look how the back wheel is actually going traveling
That's
way further.
where we're talking about. The back wheel is going off the center line 4 inches each way. Okay? And this guy's got balls of steel for riding it out.
And I mean,
But
these are British, so they're probably not intolerant. Well, no, because it's a BMW.
look at that's a
there.
BMW, for
That's
fuck's
totally
sake.
BMW.
That's the world's
Fuck's
finest
sake.
motorcycle.
Look at that.
So that's
like
the world's-
sidewall is.
There you go.
Oh my
Oh,
god!
Take a look at that BMW.
Yeah, no, I guess
that
it is.
BMW.
Fuck.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, dude. No. Charo doesn't have moves like
And
that.
these
Yeah.
have that total, through the triple
Yeah.
friction damper on them.
There's a
so-
water buffalo.
There's a
so we
water
can't
buffalo.
say it's only lightweight motorcycles. These guys, so this dude puts on a weight belt. He puts on a diver's belt because he's going to prove how weight changes things. Because in the ancient days, the solution was to make everything heavier. So anyway, I'm going to digress. I'm going to get off of that. There's going to be links in the show notes. It's called Dunlop Wobble and Weave. So Dunlop Wobble and Weave is a video I've shown to hundreds of people. I strongly recommend it because what it does is lets you know that what you're experiencing is not a new thing.
I think I'm sweating.
Yeah, it's really stressful. It's really, really hard to watch that.
No. He's really turned on by that fairing.
Yes, he's really turned
that too.
Okay.
Did you see the curves?
Do you see these nipples?
Now, what has happened to her has happened to a lot of people.
Yeah.
What has happened to her is absolutely not a Janus thing, because I can take you right now and I can put you on a couple of 3 different motorcycles that I'm aware of and put you on a particular piece of road that I'm aware of. It's in Lorraine, crossing a very particular bridge. And if your motorcycle doesn't do the hippie shake, right, it's because either you weigh 240 pounds or, you ain't her. Right?
I don't know specifically, but you said this was during a cross-country trip.
No,
so,
this was getting ready for a cross-country
oh,
trip.
so unloaded.
They were just, totally naked.
Okay.
Totally,
She was
just
picking
she
the
wasn't
bike up.
naked. The bike was naked.
Well,
Yeah, this was her inaugural
Right.
ride on the Janus.
Go get to
that
know
she
the
had
bike.
purchased. So she had no time on the Janus other than this.
Right.
Well, and that's what so one of the things I was going to say when you guys were talking about the Earl's Fork and
Yeah.
how it like you almost rise up when you're using the brake, right? And the suspension locks up. If you don't understand that and you're not used to Earl's Fork and you hit a bump while braking like that, you actually could, you're now lifting off from that bump.
Yeah.
Like that's something that could have totally happened.
so
I
this
have-
is
I have
this
more
is
questions. Go ahead.
What's your question?
No, go ahead.
So Sleepy hit something right there, and this is again, is most boomer complaint I can think of is that if you don't have that experience of that particular handling characteristics, you're not going to know how to respond in a situation such as this. This is not a critique.
But
this is literally if you haven't experienced this before,
But I don't
and this
think
was an extreme situation.
But I don't think there's one person out there that went in and bought a Janus that didn't want a Janus. Specifically a bike that looks like it's from the 1920s.
Hey Chris, why'd you buy your Janus?
Because Sleepy told me to buy it.
Yeah. No, but what I'm saying is you know what I mean? Like there's a few people saying like, oh, these bikes, whatever. But
Right.
like the thing is like they're a very niche bike. Like you have to want that. Nobody's like, I want to go to Nelson's Ledges on the fastest bike I've ever ridden on. I'm taking a Janus.
Right.
Like that's not why you're buying
So
it.
very good. Yeah.
You know, you're there for the fact that like this was the beginning of motorcycling. They kind of kept it true to what it is. It's like this raw thing, you know, and it's still hand built in the USA too. So I don't know.
I ride my bike to ramble, and you know it's slower speed.
Did you just read the chat because somebody else posted ramble?
Oh well, whether they did or not,
It's
I
not
don't
a
know.
common word.
Well, that's because that's the book that Janus has.
Oh,
Talks a lot about rambling
So what
and
the
talks a
shit
lot
are y'all
about
That's a Janus code word.
yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
But it's a whole ideology behind, you know, we're bigger, faster, stronger, everything, and that the Janus wasn't made for that. The Janus was made for just slowing down, taking it easy, and enjoying the riding experience for what it is, like a simpler bike, a nostalgic ride. And for Chris, I think his bike just the conversations that it elicits. Who doesn't stop you when you're on a Janus and say, "Oh my God, that bike looks like it's from 1920."
Oh, God,
anytime we've
literally.
ridden,
and that's perfect for Chris.
Everybody stops me when I ride the freaking things.
but the thing too is when we've ridden with you, we're not really going a million. We're doing like 40, 45.
Right.
Like that's kind of where that bike's comfortable at. You know,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
it's I don't know. I think it's unfair to really judge a bike from one person
Well,
having
one
an
of
incident.
one
you know?
of the videos that I watched there was of an evaluation of this because apparently it blew up and everybody went, "Oh my God, freaking crazy Janus!" I'm like, how does anybody else know about Janus motorcycles? Because what the fuck?
Oh, this has introduced a lot of people to the Janus
It's a Janus.
motorcycle.
And it was an older guy who owned a Janus. I'll find out later who it was, and he was like, she was obviously with another Janus rider who obviously was a representative of the company.
Yeah.
Who immediately stopped
And did everything right.
Did everything right.
Yeah, did everything right.
And like got her help and got everything squared away right and everything else. So that she was not by her. This was the demo ride of, hey, this is how this is going to work.
Right.
On a road in I guess outside of the factory in Indiana, and then this happened.
Right.
So this is not like she was on her own. This was, this is the demo ride. This is how it's going to work.
Right.
So that was my question. Was this game over for her and the Janus, or did she
No, they're
eventually
gonna-
do the trip?
They're going to.
They're going to do the
So
trip.
they're
Okay, that's
rebuilding
good.
it
Which
better,
is great.
faster, stronger than it was before. And I did get somebody question, what is the difference between a leading link and an Earl's fork?
Oh, good.
The-
Is it Grant?
So here's
on.
the go ahead.
Hang on. Grant actually checked. Grant from Janus is in the chat, and he says he's in the chat. So is this
Good.
Grant that's checking in?
So I would like to I'm just going to show you a very simple difference between the leading link and an Earl's fork. Ernie Earls is the inventor of this particular thing. Ernie Earls made a bunch of motorcycle frames. Ernie Earls came up with this idea of the Earl's fork. It has to do with the location of the pivot point. The pivot point is going to determine whether it is an Earl's design or a leading link alone.
That looks like the pivot point
So
is
all-
all the way behind the back
I
tire.
know, right?
All
tire.
Kleenex is facial tissue, but not all facial tissue is Kleenex.
You can't Xerox a Xerox.
Right. So that's the difference between the two. And it has to do with the concept of where the pivot point is the difference between the use of the term Earl's or the use of the term leading link.
So are there any
So they are
different
all
Gotcha.
they are all leading link forks based on the link
Earl's is
being
just where the gotcha.
leading.
Are there different characteristics to the Earls?
Not so much.
No,
So-
it's all going to be
right.
about the same reaction.
So not so much. So
But that looks more, the actual Earls looks a lot more like what I see on racing hacks.
well, yeah, no, the
Like-
sidecar racers that you see are going to use a traditional Earl style fork,
Yeah.
where the pivot
Right.
is actually the spring is actually located further
So the
back on
Earl's
the line.
That's a
patent of 1953 specifies a link pivot behind the front
Yeah.
wheel. So if your link pivot is behind the front wheel, this picture is not of an Earl's fork
Right.
because the link pivot is not behind the front wheel. If we are looking at a motorcycle who has its link pivot behind the front wheel, like the BMW, that is a leading link front fork. So that's strike
an
that
Earl's.
backwards. Thank you.
Yeah.
Take what I said and reverse it. So if the link pivot is behind the front wheel, that's an Earl's. This is not an Earl's. this is a leading link.
That's a Greaves motorcycle, by
Greaves
the way.
motorcycle.
Actually,
Yes, it is.
Grant
Very
corrected
nice.
me. He says Richard is here in the chat.
Oh, good, Richard.
Which was riding with he was riding with.
He was
Doodle.
he's the wingman. So he was our
yeah.
ride leader. Yeah, exactly.
'Cause-
that's fucking awesome. I'm glad you guys are here, man.
Like I it took me a while to come around to Janus. Not gonna lie, because when we were in New Orleans, we kind of laughed at it. When we worked on 2 or 3 of them, we were like, "Look at this thing." And then after riding Chris's, and after riding the sidecar, and
Yeah.
after riding the other rod, I was like, you know what? I get it.
Yep.
It's kind of cool. It's kind of that laid, and as Sleepy said, as that laid back ride where you want to talk to people and interact with people. And the Route 66 ride sounds like an awesome thing where it's like, I'm taking it slow.
See, to me, I just see a lot of guys that want to have conversations and they don't have the patience or anything to rebuild a 1920 bike.
Right.
So this gives them a ready-to-go
it's a
bike
crowd pleaser.
Oh,
that they can
absolutely.
ride down the street to the ice cream place and they can get the 150
throw that
people that
picture up.
ask them up about the bike.
Throw that
you
picture
know?
up.
Let's just say
So-
this, too.
What looks more profound? What looks more interesting, right? Than this motorcycle.
It looks like the Hogan's Heroes are
I
going to pop
love-
out from that fucking bar.
Right.
Like,
I love the Brooks style leather saddle
Everything.
seat. Like that is my favorite thing of that entire bike is that leather seat.
Motorcycle is absolutely gorgeous.
So, Chris,
But
is that
more-
what popped you when you saw that? When you first saw the 250? I think that's the 450, or is it? Or is
it
it
the bigger one?
250? I think
This is
that's
450.
it. That's
That
the
looks like the
450.
big block.
It's 450. Halcyon
Yeah.
450.
But when you first saw it, was that the
Yeah.
thing? Like, what went through your head? Were you like, "Holy shit, I need that thing"?
Well, I actually saw initially down at Mid Ohio. I saw the 50cc
Okay.
unit that they had. So it was the same design.
I think those are super cool. I was looking at Janus and I was looking at the 50cc's and I really there's something about having that open bike with that little motor that reminds me of like a Scott or something like that.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I don't hate the 50cc.
I know I saw a 50 on Marketplace the other day and I was like, number one, I didn't know they made the 50. Number two, I was like, that actually is pretty hot.
The
So when I saw it down at Mid Ohio, and that was probably 8-9 years ago, before they were making the 250s, but I just fell in love with the look, and I was in the process of raising kids and riding other motorcycles, and then back in 2020, I started following them again, and one came available, and I went over to Indiana in the beginning of November with the great idea of maybe riding it back to Cleveland when it gets dark at like 5 in the afternoon.
And Chris didn't know the way.
So
either.
wait, so this is your maiden voyage. You went
Yeah.
all the way from Indiana back to Cleveland.
Yeah,
And you're
yeah.
still here with us.
Yeah, I am.
Okay,
I am.
all right,
Yeah,
understand, okay.
yeah.
and the other thing is there's a picture I'm just going to throw up real quick. Janus, this is the Janus Paragon, right? The Paragon. This is a gorgeous bike.
I can see New Nick riding this.
Of course, I can
Oh,
see
New
all
Nick.
kinds of people riding
Nick
it.
has
So
this
that was-
poster. There's no way New Nick doesn't have this fucking poster, dude.
So that was in the beginning whenever they did a lot of mopeds and stuff like that.
And
Right.
That's
and
gorgeous.
And
it's
that's
a
where they got
gorgeous
started.
bike.
They
It's a
were
gorgeous, gorgeous bike. It was a kit bike. You provided your own 50cc motor, and they're liquid cooled 50cc bikes, and super fucking
Also, Nick
sexy,
definitely
man.
has one of these.
Oh yeah.
Super fucking sexy and very, very cool, very beautiful.
So Grant has checked in and said you have sold so many bikes for them, so apparently they owe you a new bike.
Well, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
who's that? Who's it? Phil
Grant.
owns him a
No,
new bike?
Not
you.
Grant.
We
They owe you.
You.
All right, I'll take it.
You have,
I'll
been,
take it.
you have
Let's-
been a brand ambassador for Janus for years.
Well, without really, being one.
Right,
He just
right.
he's, that's
Right.
who he is.
But
Well,
that's
technically he kind of is.
But you know what, Tom? The bike really does sell itself.
It
if
it
you're
really
smart
does.
enough to be able to point out the advantages of it, and
Yeah.
if you are able to let somebody put their leg over the bike and actually feel how light the bike is and how comfortable it is sitting on it, and then they drive around. I let
no.
people drive around my neighborhood on it. Let's go for a ride.
Well, case in point is New Nick. That's how
Right.
New Nick came in the fold, right?
that's exactly right.
You actually
that's
met
right,
New
yeah.
Nick because of the Janus.
So it turns you do meet people that are under the age of 100 years old.
Yeah.
If you ride a Janus, you might not have to just hang out with 100-year-old
So-
guys.
Because,
Wait.
because despite the Janus jokes,
The reason that we got new Nick is because
right.
he was
Because
just
of the
happy
Janus.
Chris wasn't going to rape him.
Well, you meet the most wonderful people on a Janus.
Janus.
And the bikes I'm coming out with next week are going to be called the Rex Sphincters. Yeah, that's fine. Sometimes they write themselves. The
But these bikes do sell themselves, and once you go on their website and you start to look at the color combinations and the additions that you can make to your bike, then you personalize the bike right out of the chute, and there's all sorts of different colors and whatever. And I remember a couple years ago,
I got 4 different Januses, 1 450 and 3 250s that hang around my shop.
Yep.
yeah,
And every time I'm being visited by one of those bikes, for whatever it might be,
I'm still waiting on my certificate.
every time,
whatever it
Go
might
ahead.
be, anytime one of these bikes is around or in town, and when it's raining out, we bring them inside because we don't want them to get wet because leather's leather, right? So every single time, we can't have a day where a customer comes in who might have 38 cents in their pocket, doesn't make some comment about like, oh man, that's cool. Did you build that yourself? Did you restore that?
That's
right?
what.
Nobody fucking walks past it and just goes, yeah, whatever, motorcycle. Nobody.
No.
It gets a comment from every person that walks into the store. Now, here's the thing too. Very few of those comments are evil. Very few of those comments are negative or derogatory.
And I
They're
guarantee
usually well fucking done.
And I guarantee you, none of those owners are surprised at the bike they bought. They're not like, oh my God, this doesn't go 200 miles an hour. What? It doesn't handle like a fucking Ferrari? No, it's
I
supposed
can't
to
get
be
an elbow
rattly.
down.
It's supposed to be rattly. John, what did Tom's bike sound like when it pulled in the driveway today when you got on it and you wiggled it back and forth?
Oh, yeah. Squeaks.
Well, I mean, it squeaks, and
It
the
is
rear suspension, like a lot of bikes.
And what kind of a motorcycle is that? Is that a tiny 250?
I don't even. Is that 21, 22? I don't know what.
No,
year.
what how many?
Oh, it's
no, no, no.
850.
It's an 850.
That's
It's a
the
touring
V85,
bike, right?
yeah.
And
Yeah.
them shocks squeak like a
ADV.
motherfucker.
Probably very expensive
Yeah,
Italian
it's my
suspension.
V85 demo.
Right. Exactly.
But yes, it squeaked.
Yeah,
It does squeak.
it's crazy, but they still work though, right?
Still worked just
That's
fine.
just fucking crazy.
So
No.
if we circle back to the tank slapper thing though, Phil, how many tank slappers would you say you've been in or experienced?
And I'm not joking because I ride a lot of customers' bikes. So I ride motorcycles that come into our shop with a known handling problem. I ride motorcycles that people say, I'm here today because I'm terrified.
So how many of those
And then
tanks-
I get to take the bike out.
So
how many of those bikes were Januses?
Well, 0.
Okay.
So-
so the
so-
boogeyman in the room
Right.
is not the Janus. It's a misaligned suspension.
Right.
It's a wheel that's out of alignment.
It's a road anomaly.
It's a road
It's a road
condition.
anomaly.
It's all the stuff that the NTESB said. It's all, I think they were very fair with their reporters, just all that stuff together. And it's not a high performance motorcycle, like,
It can just be a calamity of circumstances.
exactly.
Yeah, man.
So Phil, I've thought about this.
Well, let's let Pete
Let's
finish
just
up
say,
there.
because,
Actually, yeah,
because
let's
this one high-profile tank slapper occurred on a Janus. There's some people pointing their finger at Janus saying that this is a problem with Janus. It's not a Janus problem. It's a motorcycling problem for motorcycles that have been set up improperly or for motorcyclists that have encountered a unique road condition where their tires and the pattern of the road and suspension setup, all of it conspired against them.
Absolutely.
How many-
maybe motorcycles are just inherently dangerous and
how many people in this room before GoPros and stuff back 25 years ago mysteriously crashed and you still fucking have no idea why? And
oh no, I know why. I know exactly why.
I
I
know,
crashed
but
every
and you're
time
like,
I
because there was no cameras, no nothing. You might have woke up then, you might have woke up 3 hours later. I don't know, but like
I've
you're
had
like,
more situations where I couldn't understand why I didn't crash.
Right, yeah, right.
but what I'm saying
Coming home
is,
from the Spitfire at 2 a.m.
I was so drunk, I have no idea how I didn't kill myself.
right, I've crashed on shitbox bikes that shouldn't have been on the
Well-
road. I've crashed on brand new bikes.
Well, Phil hit on something a minute ago. Phil and I ride bikes on their first day and on their worst day.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the trick. Is
That's my
we-
shop.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
you're right.
literally
First day,
have.
worst day.
We either ride it the first day, going, "Hey, everything's cool. Here's your bike," or "Oh my God, how the fuck did you ride this in here?"
I don't know Doodle personally at all, but she does seem to be a pretty hardcore bike rider.
I am envious of her experiences.
I wouldn't be surprised if she's very familiar with what wobble feels like. Was this the first time this ever happened? I bet she's had other circumstances.
Look,
I mean, if you've spent
She's
enough time
taken
on
law enforcement motorcycle training.
Yeah.
She's pushed around a Road King. She's pushed around these motorcycles that are extremely heavy and exhibited skills well beyond her years of motorcycle prowess, because when we're sitting around, she's doing motorcycle training, right? That's her life. That's awesome. It's fucking great is what it is.
And it's cool as hell. Like, I kind of, because when Sleepy posted all this, I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I kind of looked her up and then looked up the whole, because it's not just her. There are a couple of other ladies that feed into her collective.
Good, yes.
Is that the best word
Women,
for it?
Fine.
And they're all taking all these experience rides and everything else. And I'm watching these videos going, I'm jealous.
Oh, I live
This is
vicariously
awesome.
through quite a few of these
women,
people, man.
Women Riders World Relay that
absolutely.
Liza does and everything
Yeah.
else, like the Women in the Wind. There's so many things that are great that exist now that didn't exist 25 years ago,
Yeah.
and that's awesome. That's great. If
Like jumping logs on R1200s.
all we're saying right now is something that every fucking Dynabro is sitting back there going, really? This is what you guys are talking about? Dyna's been trying to kill us for the past fucking 30 years, right? Are you fucking kidding me? I got a video of a guy going backwards at 80 miles an hour on a Dyna because the swing arm's mounted to the transmission, okay? Because Harley fucking built it that way, all right? And it's such an issue that nobody talks about Softail tank slappers. Nobody talks about Road King tank slappers. But if you say Death Wobble, you don't say Death Wobble. You say Dyna Wobble.
That Springer gets funky at certain speeds.
It does.
I've had
And-
some interesting
Well, you
days on the way to
finally
work.
replaced all the suspension components were worn the fuck out the front end.
Most of them,
Now,
sort of. I greased them.
back to our particular question. The person that's tearing her down, the person that's taking shots
Not her, the bike.
at her and the bike.
No, I think
Okay, he's mostly punching at the bike,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
He's mostly Yammie Noob. And I used to listen to Yammie Noob's podcast, and then things changed. So his podcast went from being, I'm there to try to educate people about motorcycles, myself being young on my journey, motorcycles, hence his name is Yammie Noob, right? The whole thing. Sometimes you brand yourself on the internet. Be careful of what you brand yourself.
I'm just that asshole.
Because you may not be the noob forever. You might want to have some credibility in the things you say. And if your name's Yammie Noob, it's going to be hard for guys to take you so seriously, right? If you call yourself Billy the Squid Billy, maybe people don't want to hear your best riding tips, right? I used to listen to the podcast, and then he turned his podcast, in the interest of getting more views, into a Orange County Choppers Drama Fest, where he's going to fire this guy on the radio live or whatever.
Oh,
and
damn it, I was going to throw a chair.
Right. And
I know none of this. This is interesting.
And
Okay.
we were approached many years ago at our Lakewood store about running a Discovery Channel show at our shop. And the people that came in and told us, you guys have the perfect dynamic. Johnny Chrome is there. Like you guys, Emmy's there. You got this great, amazing dynamic. Your shop is a really cool thing. Let's do a sizzle reel.
That's when everything was they were fucking any motorcycle shit.
Oh,
were
they
like,
came and
I
spec
remember that.
us out, and I didn't throw a chair, which is why we didn't get a thing.
So their production staff, which was 3 fucking humans and $10,000 worth of cameras or whatever, they came in and they had already in their head, after meeting all of us, had kind of put together the plot of 12 episodes. And they came in, and at first I was like, this is going to be great for us because it's great exposure. We're a small shop. We're non-traditional. We work on cafe racers. We work on scooters. We're kind of all over the place. We are definitely a family environment. We all know each other. And they instantly started pushing, okay, so one of our storylines is going to be how Johnny Chrome has got an unrequited love affair for Emmy, right? And that it's creating tension in the workplace because of all this shit. And I was like, dude, we're not paid actors. We have families. We have reputations. We have lives we want to lead. Johnny Chrome is a married guy with kids. We can't send these messages out. If that's what you need actors to do that punch out at the end of the day and don't use their own name in the fucking credits to the show.
What did they say about building the bike? Oh, don't worry, we have people for that or something?
That's exactly what he said. And we also have friends that have been in that situation where they said, Grant Crank says, Yammie has perfectly described Janus. He just doesn't like it. He gets what we do. He just thinks that motorcycles without his spec sheet shouldn't exist, right? Yes, I totally agree. And
Well, to that, I watched his initial review of the bike, and while you could tell he didn't much care for it, he kind of, poo-pooed it a little bit about being on bicycle tires, which they are not bicycle tires. They are motorcycle tires.
That's
But it was a
hyperbole.
very matter-of-fact review. He didn't really say, like, oh, my God, this is a dangerous or this is a garbage bike. It just was a niche bike that he didn't care for.
Yeah.
I don't care for fucking Harleys.
They don't care for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. It's a niche bike, man. You buy it for what it is. That's the whole point of it.
And got to be careful because people pay attention and people know things. And this is the example of you're trying to make YouTube your money. You're trying to make, social media. You're trying to make this your income. And so you're deviating away from factual data. You're deviating away from the truth of the story, and you're creating drama. You're creating clicks. You're doing it for the lulz. You're doing it for the clicks. And, people that live in glass houses got to be careful about the way they throw stones, right? You lose credibility as a motorcycle educator. You lose credibility as a guiding light to a group of people.
A motorcycle safety aficionado.
Or, yes, don't speak to the safety of a particular thing when you're out there causing problems. And this is a guy that rides motorcycles on a suspended license and got caught doing it. This is a guy that went over the double yellow line and put somebody else in the fucking hospital, right? And created and radically changed not only his own life flying through the air after his crash that he did because of his own lack of rider skill or awareness, right? He put himself and everybody else in harm's way. And then he's going to have the balls to say something derogatory about a company and a person and a rider that he knows nothing about. Armchair quarterbacking it, right? Monday morning quarterbacking the shit out of the situation. Yeah. And he's got no... And that's my problem with the internet gives everybody the same voice. That everybody's an authority. And we are the ones here that are when somebody calls us out and says we did something wrong, we are right there on it.
I mean, how many times has Pete called us out?
Fair. Yes, and right, and we can go back and forth about things, and we do that. I have real problems. I have problems when somebody who have a very unique perspective, and it's not one based on experience or education or training, telling somebody else what they did wrong.
Well, because one of the things Sleepy posted, because I don't give a shit. I watch fucking airplane videos.
You throw that picture up.
But one of the things Sleepy said was that he recently bought, to prove his point, he bought a Janus. Okay, cool.
That's not a Janus and that's not Doodle.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Okay? That's not a Janus. That's not Doodle. That ragdoll in the air is Yammie Noob. The yellow Porsche is the vehicle that he went left of center and hit head fucking on.
I knew none of this. This
okay?
is crazy.
Yeah.
And this is where I feel that we should balance our Yammie Noob's opinion piece. Well, your opinion has a lot to do with your history. Your opinion has to be informed by your life experiences. And if you're going to sit on a high horse and shoot down at somebody because their motorcycle style doesn't match your taste, right? Let's take a look at your resume. What are your credentials? Because what I see right there is I see that you went directly into the front of a car driven by what can only be described as an innocent victim. Throw that one up.
Terrified victim.
Okay? And changed that person's life forever. And also damn near killed yourself. Okay? That car was never left of center, but he certainly was. And he's riding with another group in Austin, Texas, clearly not in control of the situation. As Sleepy learned, should have been on a fucking racetrack. You want to
Oh, yeah.
play stupid games, win stupid prizes. It would be one thing if the head of the Motorcycle Safety Foundation said, you know what, I've watched that video, and I believe Doodle may have done something wrong, and this is what she could have done to mitigate the situation. If somebody from NHTSA had watched the video and said, you know, I think there's a problem with that vehicle, and I think there's something wrong with that vehicle, and I think they should do something to mitigate the situation. But this guy's not NHTSA, and he's not Motorcycle Safety Foundation qualified. This is a guy that rides without a license and goes left to center and fucks other drivers up, innocent people. The person driving that yellow car, they're never going to be the same again.
Did the vehicle he was riding have a defect from the manufacturer that made it cross center of line?
That made it literally
undrivable?
Well, first of all, as a former law enforcement officer, I'd like to remind you that no matter what happened, the vehicle he was on was not in legal use of the roadway because he was driving on a suspended license. So no matter what happened to him that day, it was an illegal act to begin with because his driver's license status was invalid.
So he's just a piece of shit.
Well, your words, not mine.
No.
But he
I'm
made
an asshole.
he made some bad decisions.
He made some bad decisions and
that
cost somebody
affected other people's lives.
And how has he not been sued out of existence?
Well, we don't know.
But
we don't know what's going on. That, you know what? That's the part of the story maybe he doesn't report on.
Right.
But he is spending a lot of time throwing a lot of shade on Janus.
But apparently the vehicle he was riding that cost somebody his fucking mobility did not have a mechanical issue. It was just rider error.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have my concerns when this type of clickbait journalism, this type of thing leads a lot of other people to jump on board the bandwagon. Because, yeah, I did read the comment section.
Yeah.
And
That's what got me.
A hell of a lot of unwarranted attention and vile hate and spite was leveled at both Doodle and Janus.
Well, that's the thing. I've listened to the dude a little bit here and there. I didn't know anything about him.
I would say, first of all, there's no. She doesn't deserve anything.
No,
of course.
I mean, an accident is an accident. Sometimes it's just an accident.
But hold on.
But you know, when something like that happens, it happens too fast, and I don't see how. I mean, you know,
But
like I said, I really the thing of going from. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, but the thing is that it's not even so much that. It was the comments. Just like Phil said. It's like, that's an opinion. But, like, all these dudes are chiming in, and a lot of them are just wrong. Like, a lot of these dudes, I'd like to see their, like, have you ridden one? Have you ever ridden the front? But, like, the comments are, like, they're getting likes, and that sucks. It's
Not
like,
only are they getting likes.
But he can't be responsible. Yammie Noob can't really be responsible for the comments that show up.
But what he is responsible for is his reaction to the comments.
Oh, okay.
And that's where I take an issue. Because when somebody comes on there and says some fucking out-of-line hateful shit or wrong shit about Janus or whatever, and then he backs them up. So he's echo chambering it.
Okay.
And that's where I have a problem. It's like, okay, one, the first rule, don't ever read the comments.
Yes.
Two, if you're going to read the comments, don't play around in the comments. But what he's done is because he's circulating this for clicks and clicks and clicks, that's all that matters. The more attention, the more times we say his name, the more people are going to click on his video.
Oh, then we should stop saying his name.
And the more money he's going to get, which will train him to do that same thing. This picture that's up here right now, that's what he creates.
Ouch.
He's a creator. What does he create? He created that destruction. He created that devastation. That was his decision. He did that. That's what people should be paying more attention to than a death wobble. That's what more people should be paying attention to than somebody that doesn't understand the way a motorcycle works saying it's dangerous. He does not understand the way a motorcycle works. Everybody sitting at this table understands the way motorcycle works.
In England, people would call him a cunt.
See you
No, I
next
think
Tuesday.
that's Australia.
Right? See you next Tuesday. No, in Australia, it's a term of endearment.
Oh, right.
Right. So,
You fucking
right.
cunt.
So I have issue with that. That's my take on it. My take on it is what happened to Doodle is an unfortunate circumstance.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you that umpteen hojillion PGO buddies and boo-boos
Yeah.
have been produced and put on the roadway.
Yeah.
We know somebody that has lost appendages. Does that mean that all those boo-boos and buddies are defective?
My left
No.
my left arm
does not.
My left arm still hurts because of my PGO boo-boo lost traction when I was a fucking idiot and saw the red mist. I
Yeah.
don't blame the fucking bike.
You don't blame the bike
I
because
never had a wobble on a buddy though. That's I mean.
Oh no,
and so
turn
that
3 will
just-
get you at Bandcamp
But
every
that
fucking
just
time.
but that just speaks to the randomness of when a wobble can happen. Just hitting something wrong,
and
it
and you might be able to get away with wobble because your butthole is hooked to a much larger human that is going to be more resistant to the effects of that oscillation of the front wheel.
I'm
Fucking Dan.
resistant to inertia, gravity, centrifugal force,
Gonna say,
many
dude,
things.
You hit bumps and the earth moves.
What is it?
I'm kidding.
Okay. Can
right.
you guys want to have just one fucking moment of we're actually going to try to do some good.
Okay.
Yes.
Correct.
We're going to try to do some good.
Thanks.
Don't panic.
Yeah.
Don't grab the brakes. A tank slapper is often a result of a sudden wobble in the front wheel, and your natural reaction might be to grab a handful of brakes. However, this can make the situation worse by destabilizing the bike further. I think that's good advice. Okay? Keanu Reeves also does a pretty decent talk on how to get out of a tank slapper, too, if you want it read to you by somebody far more attractive. Okay? 2, ease off the throttle. Releasing the throttle will reduce power to the rear wheel, helping to slow the bike down, which will, by science, put a little more pressure on the front tire without giving it so much pressure by hitting the front brakes. You have control over the throttle, or you have control over the rear brake. If your hands are off the handlebar, and I'll refer you back to those video images we saw earlier taken in year of our Lord 1972, those guys' hands weren't on the handlebars, but they still had control of their rear brake.
Yeah.
Okay? Lightly use the rear brake if needed. If you need to slow down, use the rear brake gently. Avoid using the front brake, as this can worsen the wobble and potentially cause, and this is my favorite thing in the world, a high side crash. Nobody here wants a high side. A high and tight? Sure. A high side? No. If you've never had a high side, let's keep it that way. They suck. There's never a good one. Very rarely do you do the ninja roll and pop up like Spider-Man. I saw Merritt do it once, and I've been impressed by her ever since. Yeah, fucking came off in turn 4 at Blackhawk, and that was a battle. That she high-sided like a son of a bitch. She went 18 feet through the goddamn air. It was amazing, and she did a ninja roll and came up on her feet trying to chase her bike down. That was a high side. The bike's headset was destroyed. It was unrideable, but that didn't slow her down. She tried. Lean forward. Leaning forward on the tank can help shift the weight to the front of the bike, potentially stabilizing the front end and dampening the wobble. As I told you in my anecdotal story, I got my body mass low. I lowered my torso, and that helped destabilize, or it helped add stability to my unending tank slapper. 5, let the bike stabilize. Allow the motorcycle to naturally correct itself. Resist the urge to overcorrect with handlebar inputs, which can make the wobble worse. And this is my favorite one of all of them, because if you watch Doodle's video, she is not a person that just gives up. She's a fighter. She is a rider. She is a control person. She wants to be in control of the motorcycle. When she started getting her tank slapper, I could watch her hands. She was battling it. Good. Excellent. I believe that the impact should only happen after you've fucking tried everything else. Go down fighting is my motto. And she was fighting it. But the problem is, it's happening so fast that by the time you put your energy into those long cock-sucking handlebars that are so sexy, and by the time the energy goes from your shoulder to your elbow to your hand to that long-ass handlebar all the way to where the wheel is, the second oscillation has already started coming back the other way. And instead of stopping it, you might be helping it. And you've added your energy to the energy that was already there. And it's not her fault. It's just the incident of the event and the amount of time on target that the energy has to overshoot, which is what a wobble is. It's when we're going over and correcting. And that could have made it worse. Last thing that says is consider a steering dampener. If tank slappers are a recurring issue, consider installing a steering dampener, which can help to dampen oscillations and prevent wobble from escalating. I would like to just caveat with that. Check the motorcycle out completely. Make sure that don't use a steering dampener to cover up any real fucking problem.
Well, this is that whole Stella with a sidecar problem where they just put this big stupid ass clamp on the headset.
It could be a stupid ass clamp, or it could be a steering dampener off of a 1968 Volkswagen Beetle.
Yeah.
But
right?
I can say that a Janus would look really good with like some big star nut kind of like one of those old school like friction disc type little ampler, like a big knob on the the Super Hawk has a knob.
I have used in the motocross world, the guys will tighten their steering head bearings on their dirt bikes.
Yeah.
To the point where I would just be like, that's not safe to ride. Right?
I over-torqued.
It doesn't take much.
I over-torqued a GT 300 about 3 weeks ago.
I rode it.
And you rode it and you went, this is unrideable.
I
And
was
went,
very
"All right,
unhappy.
Cool, I'll go back and fix
I was
it."
very unhappy.
Because I torqued it to spec.
If
and
you
were like,
torque
"No."
something a little too much, then it doesn't want to hold a line anymore because we're constantly making micro adjustments based on the crown of the road and everything else. And that bike may have been gone straight through the world's longest parking lot and never would have ever fallen over because its steering was resistant to any input. But motocross guys will do that because in a motocross situation, you're never letting the wheel find its way. You're always implying input into it. So guys that don't want to experience that tank slapper or that death wobble in the whoops, they'll tighten their steering bearings up just a little bit tighter than I'd be comfortable with. I like the steering. I like the handlebars to just fall. So
you want the flop.
I want the flop. I want the bike to just kind of go into where it's going to go. And there's been a couple of times where I've met guys that, ride motocross, and their name's on the side of the truck. And I'm like, dude, how is that safe? And he's like, yeah, that's safe. That's going to keep me from landing and having my front end change directions on me. It's going to keep me more stable in the rhythm sections when I'm hauling ass.
When it finds the wrong rut,
right,
and you want to make a new rut, you got to go it straight.
Pretty interesting. And
but racers are crazy because then you'll talk to the other dude and he's like, "Oh, it's got to be loose, man."
Well, that was kind of the thing was,
But this is down to preference in riding style.
Yeah.
Like I said, knee out or knee in. Where do you want to be?
I did read an interesting one that said, relax your grip on the bars, pinch the tank with your knees, and lift your butt off the seat a little bit. No. My butt has grabbed the seat. Every time this has ever happened to me, whether it's
like a suction cup.
Yeah. Breaking the seal on my ass is like divers and diving bells don't have a chance of separating like I do. That is a wet seal to the submarine.
As the phrase goes, and when in doubt, throttle out.
When in doubt, throttle. There are tank slappers on motorcycles. And if you are a motorcycle person, you've had a tank slapper, you may be going to have a tank slapper, it's going to happen. If you're a sidecar enthusiast, you get all the tank slappers.
Yes, sir.
If you're a sidecar enthusiast like myself, and I definitely identify, I think I have 4 sidecars right now. I have experienced on one ride so many tank slappers. So many tank slappers.
I got a tank slapper on a shopping cart the other day.
He high-sided that thing in Heinen's. It was amazing.
Did he have a little seatbelt on?
Like
in the chair?
Like all of his groceries just went up and over.
I've driven a few sidecars that any lack of a lot of upper body energy would result in complete loss of control of the 21-inch front wheel.
A perpetual.
Yeah, a perpetual tank slapper, if you will. And whether you're accelerating or decelerating, the front wheel only wants to correct.
You're sitting there, the bike is sitting still, and the handlebars just go.
Oh, well, I'm sitting there idling, and it's like, I'm going to go. In a moment, he's going to let the clutch out, and I'm going to throw us in a ditch.
The mechanical fish, it's swimming.
Every Vespa GT 200 to 310.
Or
actually, no,
every KLR 650.
Actually, I take that back. The new 300s Plus with that weird swing.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Front end, it's amazing. It fixes all.
They
the
fixed all the problems. They fixed every
fixed all
single
the
problem in that leading link situation. And I don't know. I've looked at it. And it's some black juju. That's some black voodoo. I don't know what they did, but they fixed it. I can go hands off the bars 35 miles an hour.
Oh,
Moto Hop. Quick reminder that Doodle was trying to help promote the nonprofit Biker Down on her original video. Might as well have some good come out of it. Biker Down. That is irony. And now she can benefit from her own promotion of the nonprofit Biker Down. Hey, I'm going to look at Biker Down real quick because if you guys are playing at home, you should look it up too.
Absolutely.
Biker Down. Biker Down. It's like Diver Down. It's Van Halen's best album.
So I just want to say, if I had a yellow Porsche, I'd probably just put not a ramp on the front.
Oh, Kromke coming in with a zinger.
With the zinger.
Jesus Christ.
How long you been saving that, David?
It's always the quiet ones.
Sits out on the porch.
I've got a new cord on his microphone, and he's feeling all sexy.
I was secretly poking him to make sure he was alive, man, and then he fucking dropped that shit.
Well, the joke always is, and
Wait
we're
for
gonna
the
make
right time, though. Timing is important.
we're gonna make this merge because the joke has always been Dan Kromke, like, is the only thing you ever hear out of him.
Oh, my God. That was golden.
Hey, Chris, I hope you didn't bring a joke tonight because you're not going to follow that.
No.
Yeah,
Sleepy Kids, throw this up for us. Motorhoff says Kromke from the top rope.
Right? No shit.
Yeah, fucking Kromke out of fucking nowhere, man. That was solid, too. That was really solid.
Oh, yeah.
So biker down.
Yeah.
If you go down, we step up.
Nice.
That's nice. So biker down, 720-328-9795. That number again for the kids at home is 720-328-9795.
I'm not seeing us in the
1-800
green.
oh shit.
Right. I'm not seeing that us in the green on that.
1-800 how's my bike.
Right.
So for almost 12 years, Biker Down has been serving and supporting bikers and motorcycle riders in our community and nationwide by providing support to injured riders and their families. That's pretty fucking cool. Using the collective power of our tight-knit community and our magic rings, our organization helps riders and their families get through potentially devastating times by providing emotional support, financial strategies, financial assistance, medical equipment, and other services as needed. I am going to tell you a very brief story about a guy who just opened a business, his lifelong dream to run a shop, and a very short period of time, maybe 3-4 months after opening his shop, decided he's going to go race bikes out in Denver. I used the wrong vehicle. I was using a driver when I should have been using a sand wedge. What I ended up doing was falling out of the sky, and I broke everything in my left leg. And some other shit, too. That wasn't the most important part. The most important part was somebody got me on an airplane. No Tanuki tonight. Dave Swearingen, fucking Tanuki's up for Mr. Swearingen, and gave us $5, too. Jesus
Tanuki
Christ.
and Swearingen showed up at the same time.
Well, Swearingen's been there for a little bit, so we did not do the Swearingen thing.
Yes,
It's
Swearingen.
unfortunate, but we've been a little bit busy tonight.
But here's talking about how you can get fucked up. At that particular time in my life, I had no income. I was just starting my shop, which means I had less than zero income. I had bought motorcycles. Those motorcycles were arriving, and I was in a wheelchair. Do you know how easy it is to prep motorcycles when you're in a wheelchair and you got nails and pins and screws coming out of your leg and a big halo around it? It's not real great. And since I am a small shop, meaning I had one person, me, running my whole shop out of my little adorable shop on West 122nd and Lorraine, my friends came out from Chicago. And they came out and they helped me. One group of friends came out. You know who you are. My Chicago Scooter Club friends, second to last Scooter Club friends, they came out. And they helped me. I didn't have a sign on my building yet. And thanks to the artistic capabilities of Brian Bedell, and thanks to Grace Delcano, they made my signs. They literally arted me some signs.
That's awesome.
They made them out of art, which I don't possess. And they're beautiful signs. And that was what hung in front of my shop for years, those two signs. Matt Flanagan came out, firefighter from Chicago, great human being. These guys came out and they helped me when I couldn't even get my own ass from the living room to the kitchen, right? And they came out and they uncrated bikes. And they built bikes and put bikes together. When you crash, all your plans go out the fucking window. I don't care what you had planned for tomorrow or next week or next month. When you're laying under a motorcycle, everything changes. And it changes quick. And you probably don't have a plan for what's going to happen when that happens.
I kind of made some plans. Last year, I bought short-term disability insurance through my employer.
That's a
which
good
comes
idea.
out pre-tax dollars. So should I become disabled through an accident or for whatever reason, I would get $2,000 a month for at least a year, which is not not what I make, but it would still help pay the bills and stuff like that.
Which is why his wife constantly puts banana peels at the top of the stairs.
And then I got $1,500 on Peggy, and it really wasn't a whole lot of money, but she's a dental hygienist, so if she falls and slips on the ice and sprains her wrist, she could be out for a while.
Biker Down on their website. The biggest plea Biker Down makes to prospective members is to get the right insurance. One of the first problems an injured motorcycle rider or their family realizes after an accident or a crash is just how insured they truly are or aren't. Their families are shell-shocked that the faith they put in their insurance company to cover them only covers the bike or only covers if they hit someone else. That's an important thing, too. A lot of people don't understand. Yeah, I got my Geico minimum, whatever the hell payment I got. Think about it. Are you going to be covered? What's your policy actually going to cover? I sat down and talked to our shop insurance guy that we had for ages, and he made me see Jesus when it came to insurance and realize, yeah, the motorcycle policy that his company he worked for was trying to sell me was going to leave me, my cheese is going to be in the wind if I actually get hurt on a motorcycle.
Uninsured motorists, too.
That's what I was going to say. Exactly.
2 of my motorcycle crashes have been I've been hit by uninsured motorists. You want to know what they don't cover? Fucking everything, all right? They will cover your hospital bill. Forget about your bike. If you have, like I had State Farm and I had uninsured motorists on myself, and the guy that hit me, State Farm stepped up and paid for my actual medical costs. Not a penny to my motorcycle. Not a penny to my gear. Not a penny to my time off of work. Not a penny of anything else. Do you know whose insurance company I had to sue? Wait for it. My own.
Yeah.
Well, that's some shit.
Yeah.
Bet you didn't think about that last week when you paid your premium. Yeah, I had to sue my own fucking insurance company. That's weird. It's true. That's what it comes down to. You don't want to be there. In case you've ever wondered, if you go into a room and there's a lawyer and an insurance company arguing with each other, leave.
Quickly.
You don't have time for that.
No.
They will argue until you are broke. They'll argue all of your money away, and you'll have nothing. And forget about what you're going to get in a settlement.
You think I bill a lot?
You don't have anything
No,
left
those
at the
guys.
end. Right. They're going to get you $120 per phone call all day long. So just be careful. I love the idea. Doodle. Well done.
no.
Bikerdown.org. Well done. Thank you. Super cool. And they also, Chris's favorite thing in the world, they have trauma kits.
Yay.
Chris loves trauma kits. We all love trauma kits. May
I'm-
have one, no one. We should talk about that again in the future.
Like I said, I'm a little bit shocked that Ohio, because Ohio is a huge biker state, but there is no green on that map for Ohio for a chapter.
We are one of the absolute biggest motorcycle states,
Exactly.
and they don't have one.
And Louisiana is, which is like a horrible state.
And
for-
we are underrepresented.
Right.
There may be a reason we're underrepresented. I don't know, but if
Well,
Pennsylvania has it, then we should have it.
Well, they put a new Eagle Stallion saloon in, so they did that instead.
Ohio, it says, reach out to our Ohio partners. Our fallen riders listed below.
Okay.
Fallen
Okay.
riders.
Oh, fallen
So they are
okay.
represented by fallen riders.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Right. That's it. I've fallen a few times. I can attest to that. Yeah, fair enough. I speak from experience. That's pretty rad. All right, guys. Well, that's it. Anybody else got anything else that's fit to print?
I got one quickie.
Go ahead, quickie.
It's called quiche.
Next week here in Ohio, next weekend, Wayne weekend down in Nelsonville. If anybody's going to be there, I'm going to be there. Look me up.
Very cool.
I think, shoot, I can't remember her name.
I wanted to tell you that I'm going to be busy this weekend at the Buckeye Moto Guzzi rally. So Andrea Blake and Paul Kohler, they're two of the people that are putting on this amazing. Those are our sidecar friends, and they're putting on an amazing motorcycle weekend for Moto Guzzi enthusiasts. So if you're just Moto Guzzi curious, or if you have a Moto Guzzi and you want to go see a bunch of them and talk to the cool people,
What if I don't have a Moto Guzzi?
they just fucking show up.
Well, I was going to say,
Do you
too,
like good food? Because they feed the
love
hell
good
out of you,
food.
man. The Buckeye Moto Guzzi rally is at Friendly Hills Campground, and the riding is beautiful. The campsite is right along the Monongahela River. There's
Muskingum.
Muskingum. Thank
So-
you. Muskingum.
So,
I
Pete,
get them all confused.
I need you to do me a favor. When you're at Wayne,
yes.
I want you to say hi to Liz Funk.
Okay.
She's a presenter at Wayne. I resurrected her R1150 when she broke down in Louisiana.
Okay. I'll look her up. So to be clear, Moto Guzzi is the Labor Day weekend.
Yes.
Wayland Wayne is the following weekend,
following
which
weekend.
starts like on the 3rd through the 7th or something. And they're not that far away.
They're not.
Zanesville over to Nelsonville. So if anyone was going to be anywhere in southern Ohio, they could actually do those back-to-back weekends,
Oh, yeah.
tie them together over 8 days.
Because
have
they're
two-
not
And
far apart.
then the 5th to
Not
the
far
7th,
off.
Arma is at Nelson's Ledges. So me and John are going to go see
That's
Kevin.
what we're going to be up.
And also, Paul and Andrea are racing sidecar that weekend.
That's
too.
what. So, in case you wonder where I'm going to be,
Yeah.
oh, that sounds like a good weekend.
Yeah, well, we sponsor.
sounds like
we both
fun.
have sponsor stickers on
We
the
have
car.
a sponsored sidecar, man.
right, dude.
There aren't too many people we know that can be like, yeah, man, we got a race team.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a race team. We're sponsors.
Yeah.
I've never been so proud as
I
to
know.
have a sponsored sidecar, man.
Yeah.
I feel like I deserve a special seat. I'll make
In
sure
the
to be
car?
my own.
Well, I mean,
They'll let you be the monkey.
Oh, yeah, they will. Yeah. Where'd Phil go? Fucking, he was just there a second ago. Handling went to shit in
you're
this
going to have to
bitch.
squeeze into them Pakistani leathers.
Yeah, I got him. I'll squeeze it. Because you know what? Once I get into those cocksuckers, not my good leathers, my technique leathers, right? Once I get into those, all I can do is monkey. Because I am just ballast. I cannot move a morsel. I can't move anything. All I am is just testicles and testicle containment system.
Dude, the new suits all have fat guy patches.
Yeah.
So it's all the leather, but then you got some good stretch up in here, so you can go up and down 5 or 10 pounds without losing your suit. Because back in the day, if you ate an extra cheeseburger, you'd be like, "Fuck."
No way, man.
And I
Can
just
I get a
ride that on
suit
the
made out of
street.
fat guy patches?
That is one of those things, man. I love the idea, but I walk past when I'm in the basement. I'm looking at, I got a bunch of motorcycle gear in the basement, and go back, and I walk past. I've got 3 racing sets of leathers, right? 3 generations, and I was my heavy guy leathers, and I got my skinny guy leathers, and then I got my more recent leathers, right? So I got 3 sets of leathers that are all from 3 different eras, and my heavy guy leathers are way too big for me. I'm very happy about that, right? My skinny guy leathers are just, that's a fantasy. That's never going to happen again. Not unless I get like AIDS, right? Then maybe I got a shot. But other than that, and then like my most recent leathers, I'm like, those are the ones that hurt me. Those are the ones I'm like, God damn it. Come on. Because the worst thing is I know I can put them on. I just can't move.
There's a reason I finally sent all my medium shirts to Goodwill. It's because I know I'm never going to be 190
When was
pounds
that?
again.
Was that like when you were 12 or something?
No,
no.
Oh, no.
Fuck no, 2020, I was
I
at
can
100.
bring up some pictures of Tom when you're like, damn, son, leave some pussy for the rest of us. Yeah.
I used to be skinny and attractive, and now I'm just a fat asshole.
Oh, and he used to have blonde hair. Like he looked very like one of the first times I met him, he showed up looking very surfer. Yeah, very surfer. Yeah, it's 2 hours and 22 minutes to get to Friendly Hills Camp from where we're sitting right now, and it's about another hour past that to get to Wayne National Forest, headquarters, down by Athens, Ohio. So, yeah, super cool. Like that's a great link those 2 things together. Yeah. Build a chain out of it. Yeah. You can really have a good time on your motorcycles. That's badass. All right. That's it.
Chris, no
Folks,
joke.
I hope it wasn't too awful for you. We spent some time on that, but I felt like we deserved to spend some time on
we
it.
talked a bunch of shit, so
Well, it's great.
I can't wait for the hate mail.
That's it. Remember to ride fast and take chances. Get us out of here, Johnny Mac.
Bum bum ba bum 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 ba bum bum bum.
Eject, hit the red button. Get us out of here, sleepy.